They won't fear it until they understand it.
あれはゴジラ
If you do choose to free me, I'll spend the rest of my days trying to right that wrong.
You didn't tell him to leave the gun? I don't know why I told him to leave the gun. I told him to leave the gun. Just like you told me, kid. I don't know why he didn't. I don't know why. I told him just like you told me.
You heard it up top. Happy Normie year.
Happy Normie year.
Happy Normie.
We're Normie and Normie
That
and
is
Normie.
the sound of the ball dropping as your Normie hosts say goodbye to 2023 and hello 2024 here on Normies Like Us with those hosts. Happy new Colin.
Yeah, happy new Mike.
And happy baby new year coming
That's
back 2024.
There he
That's
is.
right.
It's
2023 brothers and sisters came before, and now we have the baby
That's
new
right.
year 2024. Much like the ghost of Christmas.
Yeah, come in
Past,
and know me better, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, know me Normie, man. But good to see you guys. Good to be back in the new year. It was a good last year. There's a lot of cool stuff that we're going to recap later. But how were your holidays? You know, Jacob, Colin, what did you do? Anything cool?
Yeah, mine was good. I just went over to Miami, Florida.
Big Willie
visiting
style.
the family, which I tend to do. I mean, sometimes we're in other places, but my mom and stepdad live part-time in Florida, so it's a good place to go in the wintertime. And we just hung out there, played a lot of pickleball, of course,
Heck yeah.
didn't do too much, just kind of relaxed and and had some good family time, enjoyed some movies, played some games and whatnot, and it was a great time all around.
Well, that's great.
Love
That's
to
great.
hear,
Well,
buddy.
yeah, happy holidays, happy new year. Colin, how about you?
Happy
What did you
holidays.
get into?
I'm kind of say the same. A very chill amount of family time. Got to hang out with my baby nephew. Did a dope ass puzzle with my mom and brother. Watched a bunch of movies. A bunch of Great British Bake Off, which is like a very neutral, easy show to watch with your loved ones, right?
Sure. 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It was pretty low key. Saw a bunch of movies that we'll definitely talk about today. Wrapped up a bunch of good movie viewing stuff.
Absolutely.
Ate some good food. I don't know. Fucking
Oh,
love
yeah.
the holidays, but in my opinion, 2023, a lot of good stuff came out. Kind of a piss shit year in terms of like the actual stuff that happened in it. So I'm kind of hoping 2024 a little.
Well, aren't they all?
Yeah.
These days, unfortunately.
These
But
days.
how about yours, Mike? How was
No,
your end of 2023?
It was pretty chill. It was pretty chill too. I did go to Ohio, where my family lives, for Christmas, and then Kansas City to visit some friends for New Year's. We did the whole Christmas thing, dinner, watched some shows. There was a lot of Western, a lot of gun smoke. I don't know. We were watching a lot of old Westerns for whatever reason. But
Love that.
upgraded the internet. We did a bunch of tech
Nice.
at my parents' house.
Hey.
And,
Chores, you got to do it.
yeah, there was a bonding moment. And then in Kansas City, my friends throw kind of events, and they did a party for New Year's Eve, and that was very fun. So shout out, I'm wearing their shirt to the Sugar Rush crew in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Check that out if you're in the area. It's a great event. Good friends.
Yeah.
And now we're back. So
Well, how about this? Kansas City, Miami, Tennessee. We all traveled. Now,
Yeah.
last year, Jacob, you famously got caught up in that plane apocalypse thing that happened with Delta or whatever. where that
Oh,
got
yes.
fucked up. But how was
Southwest, I
everybody's Southwest? Yes, sorry, but how was everybody's travel this year?
Mine was good this year. If you don't know Normies last year, I probably told it on last year's first episode of the year, but I had a layover in Las Vegas last year. I was going to Las Vegas to Colorado, Denver, and I basically got stuck in Vegas. My second leg of my flight was canceled as I was landing in Vegas. So I was stuck in
Oh,
Vegas for
man.
like 9 hours on Christmas Eve of all days. And almost thought I was going to have to spend Christmas night in Vegas alone, which would have been interesting, I guess. But eventually I did get a flight out and made it home for the holidays, as it were.
Well, they made
this
that
year-
Lifetime movie about you, didn't they?
That's right. Yeah.
Stranded for Christmas.
Melissa
yeah,
Joan
yeah.
Hart is in it.
It's a rom-com.
She plays your mom. I hate that.
yeah.
Roll the dice on love. Stranded for Christmas. Vegas. It's all the
I
copies
love
there.
it. Yeah.
I love it, Mike.
Thank you.
This year, I didn't take any chances. I did a direct flight, LA to Miami, LAX, which I hate going to, of course. I try to fly out of Burbank if I
Yes.
can.
Yeah.
pro
Sure.
tip there, if you live in the LA area, especially if you live in, close to Burbank, always fly out of Burbank if you can. It's usually a little more expensive, and you might have a layover because of that. But
Yeah.
so I did LAX to Miami, uneventful flight, made it safe and sound, and then on the way back, I flew into Burbank because I was like, I don't want to come out. I don't want to worry about LAX. So,
Now, how
Right.
about this? Getting your bag. I've always
Yep.
found Burbank to be the worst at getting your bag from
Oh,
baggage
yeah.
claim if you checked your bag. One time it took me an hour. How was that for you?
It took a little bit. Like it was like I was
Yeah.
standing around for like 20 minutes after I landed. It's all like outside too. So it's like you just stand
Yes.
around with a
It's
bunch of other
terrible.
people outside waiting for your bags. Yeah. Kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But all plane travel is really, if you think about it.
Mike,
Yeah.
how was your travel this year?
Well, off the Burbank meta, I was trying to do that as well. And then I guess they end up in Vegas because I was on Spirit, but you get a layover in Vegas and then get to Cleveland because
That's a
hub.
popular hub. Either that or
Yep.
Phoenix generally if you're going through
Yep.
Burbank. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're all going through Vegas. I had you get to the airport, then it's delayed 3 hours, then it's delayed all night, and then it's like, well, I've already missed my connect. I'm still in LA and my connection is gone. So that was a whole thing. A little bit of a headache. I had lost 3 days of my time in Ohio because they couldn't rebook me
Oh, that does suck.
for a couple days. So I had to go home. And the most frustrating part, which I need to get on the phone, and this is just anecdotal, but the lifts, the ride share to go to the airport and back, and again, costs more than the flight
dog.
did.
Oh, you
Yeah,
can
that's-
expense that, I think, right? You can because
gotta
they
hit them up.
yeah, you can hit them up and be like, hey, refund me my Lyft, price because I came all the way out to the airport and you cancel my flight. You can definitely do that.
Yeah. And then I got booked to LAX, so it was an even further one to go, so I ended up flying out of LAX anyway, trying to avoid it. But it is what it is. That's the spirit, as it were. But we got where we needed. The flight to, Kansas City was fine and back home was fine. But baggage did take an hour in Ohio. But Colin, how about you? Spirit's a nightmare, but it is.
Flying
You get
into
what you pay for it.
Cleveland.
Well, how about Chattanooga to Charlottesville, I think, North Carolina was
Uh-huh.
my
I've been there.
connection
Been
to LAX. And I got to say, pretty painless, but Mike, I'll complain with you as well. The time it took me because LAX now drops you off at the LA exit, which is the hub for all rideshare apps. It is a fucking nightmare. I got in at 11 p.m. There were so many people there. It took a million years to get a lift. It was so expensive. It fucking sucked.
Yeah. Well,
Even getting an Uber or a Lyft out of Burbank can be a pain too, just because
Right.
so many people are trying to do it at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's the same, and I have a problem with the LAX thing, and I told a story to you guys a ton of times about Japan. It's 500 yen to get on a train that exits in the airport. That's like $4 and some change. Meanwhile, 70 bucks, you have to go to LA exit. But there is a hack I learned, and I probably shouldn't be sharing this publicly. I might get targeted. But what you do is you just get on any rental car shuttle, go to their building, and then call a Lyft, because that LAX shit is a nightmare.
Oh, and because the algorithm, if you use
They
the
can
right
pick you up from that address.
but
And
it
the-
inflatedly charges you, dude. So that makes sense
The
to cut
price is
that
cheaper,
price down to
too.
go somewhere else.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
It saves you
Oh
time
my
and money.
God.
Don't tell your
That's a
friends.
great
Keep it
idea.
secret, but that's
Yeah.
between us. So.
Well,
Oh.
that's great. I'm glad we're doing our annual air travel podcast.
We're gonna fix it.
This is
our
somebody's
complaints
favorite
are gonna be the
segment.
things that fix it.
Yeah.
I'll also say we're all 6 foot, just sitting in seats these days. It's just such fucking bullshit.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I
I never have
insane.
enough leg room. And actually,
Mm-mm.
maybe I'm getting older. I mean, we all are. But when I was flying out to Miami, by the time I landed in Miami, my knees were killing me because I couldn't
God.
extend my legs. And I was like, am I getting old? Because my knees are fucking
Yeah.
killing me
This is another
from
question.
having to
that might
sit here for 5 hours. Yeah.
It's my neck.
Are you
Mm.
are you aisle or window guys, or are you a chaos center? Are you
I'm always a
centrist?
window guy. I like to be on the window. I can sleep
'Cause you can
against
lean
it if
on
I
it.
want to. Yeah. And I try not to use
Sleep?
the bathroom on the plane. If I don't have to, I just sit there the whole time and wait for
But
it to
see,
land.
Jacob, sleep is the secret to your success. I love that. I wish I could be that person. I am an aisle person because I have to have the control of the bathroom because I get motion sickness that I have to get
Oh,
up to
bummer.
go throw up in the bathroom, unfortunately.
That's a
That sucks.
bummer.
Yeah, I never do that.
I used to be window meta, but now that I'm older, I don't want to bother people if I have to get up. But I do the aisle
You're
so I
middle.
can stretch one leg out, and I can get up
Yes.
and kind of do the
Yo,
little
that's
ankle
smart.
lifts.
I got yelled at by a flight attendant this time who kept
They moved
saying,
the carts
"Sir,
through there. Yeah.
keep your." But it was like late enough where it's like I knew the drinks were done and nobody should have been coming through. But this guy holding a baby was up back and forth, back and forth.
Right.
So
that's smart.
what do you
By the
do?
way, did you hear about?
Jeez.
Speaking of window and aisle,
Yeah.
there's this plane that like part of the plane can't the side of the plane
true.
broke off.
Alaskan Airlines.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
the
And
door
luckily there was
opened.
no one sitting in that aisle, and no one was actually hurt or anything. But imagine just be sitting by the window, and all of a sudden the side of the plane gets shot off, and you're staring at open sky. I mean,
Yeah, this is actually a good segment for SEO, but luckily nobody was injured. Yeah, I guess one of the doors flew off or something like that. But scary stuff. But luckily everyone's all right. But that's it's got to be terrifying. I'm on the pilot of Lost right now, and I don't like it. Yeah,
right.
It will happen.
Don't put me with the tailies.
yeah.
I'll just fucking jump out.
No. But so that's our travel segment. I guess
That's us complaining about air travel for 20 minutes or whatever.
I got a segue for us though.
Yeah.
That Air Alaska Airlines flight, that thing that happened, that's like a scene right out of a movie. So why don't we talk about our top 10 movies of 2023 right after this?
We're back here on Normies Like Us, where we are going to start doing a little countdown. Now, this is our New Year, New Normies episode. We're going to be talking some of our favorites from last year, some of our best ofs, mainly films. We're going to be going through our top 10 list.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be shouting out some other favorites too, maybe talking some worse. I wanted to throw to you guys to first say my favorite episode that we recorded last year of this podcast, and a film I'm so glad we watched last year to discuss. It's a little movie called Uncharted. And if our listeners didn't watch along with that, I had such a good time talking that movie with you guys. So that's my highlight episode 2023.
That was a great highlight. Yeah. It's only worth watching because of the dialogue that happened after. Like it really made up for the experience of viewing it, because it was a very fun episode to record, and just the amount of movies that movie is trying to be at once is staggering. And it's not succeeding in any of them.
Yeah.
But that's Marky Mark.
Yeah, Normies, we did a similar episode last year. That was our first episode of 2023, and I like doing these episodes a lot, and I put a lot of preparation into it. And this is kind of my favorite time of the year, this early January. I did this last year, so it's kind of become an annual tradition for me. I get home from my holiday travels, and I just try to watch all the big releases from the past year that I may have missed out on. And there's a bunch, and a lot of them that I really want to see, they don't come out until November or December anyways, because they're more awards type movies or whatever. So I spent the last week catching up, watching a bunch of good movies and stuff. I think actually like half the movies on my list I only saw in the past week. So
wow.
I'm very excited to talk about it. Yeah.
There was a sudden burst of exciting and eclectic films released. I would agree with you, Jacob, not just in theaters, obviously with the dumbass fucking streaming model as well. But
some go straight to streaming. Some are just like movies in theaters that I didn't catch in theaters that made it to, DVD release or streaming release by this month. So I was like, oh, catch those. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. And I saw one of these movies I did see in theaters when I was in Miami with my sister. So I'm excited to talk about that. And by the way, shout out to my siblings' dogs, my brother's dog and my sister's dog, who I got to see that I didn't mention in the intro that I wanted to shout out because I love those dogs. They're nice. So
heck yeah.
Sadie and Juniper, shout out to you.
Their ears perked up as soon as you said that on there. They're listening.
I hope so.
Right? Yeah.
Your best friends. Yeah.
Oh.
That is sweet. I had to like go back and look at my like Alamo, like what did I see this year? Like it took me. There's some movies I was like, oh yeah, that did come out this year, but I couldn't get to 20 though. I only had 19 movies this year, so I didn't do the catch up. I should I missed a lot of these late Oscar movies, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean it was the same for me last year, whereas like a bunch of them that I was meaning to see by this episode so that I could, because I was like, this probably will make my list. I just need to see it. And there's the same this year. So I was like, I'm glad I ended up seeing a bunch this week because it really changed my list. Because even like 2 weeks ago, my list was mostly stuff that I saw like this summer or earlier this year and stuff. And so there's a lot of good stuff that's just coming out now. There's a lot of stuff that's still in theaters that's worth checking out. And I haven't seen everything that I wanted to see even. So
That's the
Right.
big caveat here, because
Yeah.
there's stuff on your list and stuff. Ooh, I want to see that so bad. And
Yep.
if it's left off my list and some Normie's like, oh, Colin, you're putting that up above that. No, I just have not seen it.
yeah,
That's really
And we'll
important
point
to,
that out
to
as well.
mention. Yeah.
yeah, I'm the same way. There's definitely some stuff that I haven't seen that I want to that could make my list at a later date.
Yeah, that's
Now,
yeah.
I will say this, just because, Mike, you were saying how many films you saw this year, and you did the Alamo program, so you got to go see a bunch in theaters, which was very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I just brought up my letterbox. You can search 2003 films. I saw 43 films this year that were just released as 2003 films, or 2023
2023.
films.
Let me
Huh.
see how many
So
I
I
saw.
like that.
Yeah. I
do
don't
that
always
too.
rank them, but I did for this. Like, I don't letterbox as heavily as you guys do, so I had to kind of go back. But yeah, it was only 19, so then I threw one more on today while I was working to get to 20. But that's just,
Hey,
I guess it doesn't count because it's 2024 now. But whatever.
it counts.
Yeah, for me, where do you even see the number? I guess
you count it.
16,
Yeah, do some quick
32,
math.
36,
Do some quick
37 movies in the year 2023.
In theaters,
There we go.
37.
Well, not all in
Or
theaters.
streaming.
Well, like
2023
out in the
streaming
year
releases.
2023. Yeah, 37. And Letterbox is definitely something that Colin got me into, and I've been keeping up on pretty much maybe almost 2 years now, where I log every movie I see and rate it and review it. So it's something I've kept up on, even if I get a little behind sometimes. So I'm proud of myself for sticking to it, I guess.
Maybe that'll be my New Year's resolution. Do that.
Hey.
Like actually write the reviews, keep track. 'Cause
Yeah.
we do. We're
a fun thing to do.
enjoyers of cinema.
It's a COVID diary is what it started for me. It
Mm.
truly was a bit of keep your mind straight, keep track of everything you are consuming.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I found it to be quite important.
I like to make
most
lists
work-
of things that I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, famously, I have the definitive 100% accurate Grudge rankings of every film that you can check out.
That's
That's
right.
the only one I put
I
some
like,
work into.
I like looking at Mike's letterbox every once in a while because it is just like scattered things like that. And it makes
It's
me very
chaos.
happy.
This says
Yeah,
2023
you're-
top 10 or something like that. That's the name of this
Yeah.
list.
Yes.
Your list this year has 10 different Grudge movies on it, right?
Uh-huh. If they were released in 2023, they'd be at the top.
Right.
Halloween's, they are always some of my favorite episodes recorded. Maybe Grudge was my favorite. Maybe Candyman was my favorite because I did end up Normies watching the rest of those movies. So.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I think the
Yeah,
Grudge
those
was
are some
definitely
good
my
ones.
episode of it. Just
They were.
that experience changed me forever.
I think it did, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm
Kayako
scared
is
how it
out here.
changed you.
Oh, this is my anecdote too. My friends in Kansas City, they have this cat that just yells at you. Like if it doesn't know you,
Oh,
it just follows
no.
you around and meows. So I just started calling it Toshio, and whenever it would meow, and then it got like
no.
self-conscious and stopped bugging me.
Sure.
So it's like I don't want to be called the
Scared
kid
it
from The
away.
Grudge.
You would
Yeah,
crawl down the stairs at it, Mike.
That's exactly right. But anyway, there's 14 of those. But we want to count it back from 10. Kind of start at 10. And
That's
Yeah.
a great idea.
Let's do
Jacob,
that.
please go ahead and kick us off here.
Yeah, and I'll just shout out just super quickly a couple of my honorable mentions because I had
Yes. What didn't make the list?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff. It was really hard to even pick my order because my top 10 I feel like are all bangers, and
Mhm.
even 11 through 16 are all like in a lesser year they might have made the list. So
Right.
shout out to John Wick 4,
Wow.
The Killer, the new David Fincher movie, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1,
Mm.
Evil Dead Rise, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Pope's Exorcist, Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem,
Wow.
and they cloned Tyrone, Barbie, Knock at the Cabin. That's pretty much it.
Oh yeah.
Mike, can I ask a spoiler real quick? Is Mission Impossible on your list?
It's in the top 10.
Okay,
in the
we'll
top
wait.
10.
I want to say something about it
Let's
then when
see.
we get to yours.
No,
Okay.
and so
Yeah.
is Barbie. So you must have seen some really
Wow.
good stuff to put
Yeah.
some of the things out. So that's
Well,
cool.
and some of those, like Mission Impossible was in my top 10 until like this past week, but it got bumped down by
Wow.
some other movies. So now it's
Wow.
13, which is pretty good. So
Yeah, it's pretty close. Nice. Yeah, Evil Dead Rise was just out of mine too. It's at 11. Like I thought that was a very strong film. Good
Yeah.
horror. But yeah.
John Wick 4 at 11. That was probably my hardest cut of the top
Yeah.
10. But I'm sure that's on one of your guys' top 10.
It might
But my
exist,
number
yeah.
10,
Yeah.
to get into it, is a movie I saw last week, The Holdovers, directed by Alexander Payne. It's the new movie starring Paul Giamatti. And Colin, you've seen this movie too, right?
Incredibly delightful. Yes, I have. Mike, did you get a chance to see this little Christmassy Peacock just
It's on
released
Peacock,
film?
on the cock.
No,
Yeah,
it's on the
on
cock.
the
I have
exclusively.
not.
Yeah.
The Holdovers. It's on the cock. I have not seen
It's
this.
very 70s, very cool, very, very cool pick, Jacob. Very funny.
Yeah, very 70s. I mean, it's set in the 70s, and it feels like a 70s kind of movie. It's you know, it's just a very cozy holiday type movie that you can watch during the holidays. It's set during over this holiday break with these kids in boarding school that have to be holdover because their parents don't want them for the holidays or whatever, so they have to stay at school while everyone else goes home for the holidays. It's kind
That's
of
how you get an Ebenezer Scrooge. You learn about business because you stay.
Right.
Kind of is, dog.
Yeah.
But Alexander Payne, he's a director that I like. I mean, Sideways is a great movie. I haven't seen all of his movies, but that's probably my favorite.
Where do you land on Downsizing, the eternally debated
That
film?
one I haven't seen.
Okay, interesting.
But I heard it wasn't that good. So this is supposed to be sort of a return to form from his earlier days. And I thought it was great. Paul Giamatti is great in it. He doesn't get, a lot of movies like this where he can really shine and just like be this character. And
Except
the
for
supporting
Rhino.
roles, his best role, Rhino, of course.
I forgot. Why wasn't he in Spider-Man 3? That's bullshit.
It should be. And the supporting cast, the kid who's kind of the main character or secondary main character, Dominic Sessa, who was discovered for this role. Basically, he was in acting school, I think, and auditioned for, out of 400 people or whatever, he was picked. This is his first movie role. He was great in it. And Divine Joy Randolph, who just won a Golden Globe last night for this role, for Best Supporting Actress, probably going to win the Oscar. She's great as well. And I wasn't too familiar with her as an actress. So, great supporting roles and just a really, really good movie, really solid.
You watch that High Fidelity Hulu original series? She was in that with Zoe Kravitz, and they both just fucking killed. It's a killer one-season series that got canceled too.
Yeah, she's great. She plays like a grieving mother whose son died in the war, in the Vietnam War, and really, really good acting for sure.
Great. It has a great look. I did see the trailer. Like, it's shot like a 70s movie. Like, it has that aesthetic. It really seems something. It was
very
on my
much
radar.
so.
Yeah, so this is going to go.
It's got like 70s soundtrack, like Cat Stevens and stuff, and just good vibes. I liked it.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
His name is Yusuf Islam. How dare you?
That's right. sorry, Mr. Islam.
How about you, Colin? Where's your number 10? What's that looking like?
Going number 10 here. Let me know if it's on any of y'all's as well. It's, I think, a great return to form from a master that I love. It's M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin.
That was one of my honorable
cut,
mentions I shouted out.
Yeah. Fascinating, though. So
I'm going to bust it out then. So it didn't make either of your cuts. This is one that could easily, Jacob, I see this going if I end up seeing a couple more that you're going to talk about later. I have a feeling.
Could get bumped down.
But you also sent us a text, Jacob, that I unfortunately think is incredibly predictive of what the Academy Awards are going to kind of hammer out being. That kind of makes things boring. If I got to pick, my best supporting would be Bautista. I think Dave Bautista is so good in this movie that it elevates the whole film up to getting a slot in my 10. And that's all I'll stump for it for.
He was really good. Yeah.
No, give him little glasses, and it's great.
That's right.
Mike, I explained your Bautista theory to my dad, who also loved and raved about this film. He's like, "You're right. That's the secret."
It's big round little glasses,
and that might not be the only Bautista role in my.
Hey, there we
that
go.
we're going to talk about.
Good foreshadowing. But the reason it didn't make it, we're not going to spoil it, but the ending didn't deliver the way I hoped. But the rest of the film, I think, is really good. But nice, good call though. And Bautista, deserves of respect.
Yeah, Colin, that was number 20 for me out of my top 24.
I can see it kind of landing about like a 15 or a 14 for me.
It's 14,
I think so.
But best wrestling actor, Dave Bautista. Mine is a return, not a return, but it's a sort of. Number 10 for mine, it's a horror movie. It wasn't Evil Dead Rise, close, but maybe I should have flipped them. But Scream 6, I enjoyed it.
Mm.
I thought it was a neat little, Ghostface Takes Manhattan. Like it was fun, and I just thought it was good.
You liked it better than 5? Or worse?
I don't think I
'Cause
liked it better than 5.
Yeah, because I didn't dislike it, but it didn't make my list or anything. But I think I just preferred 5 out of the new sort of soft reboot kind of Scream.
Right. I mean, I do prefer that, but I think maybe in hindsight, Evil Dead Rise should be at 10 because that is more, it has more craft to it. So maybe we're gonna call it audible. But
I like that movie.
yeah.
I love
And
Jenna
that
Ortega.
franchise,
Well, I was about to say, Jacob, I
It's
love
kind of
Jenna Ortega.
imploded.
I don't like these new ones. Interesting that you picked the last Scream movie. Obviously, this franchise,
Yes.
will never be moving forward.
But that's
It's
2023. I
famously-
couldn't pick the other one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Famously, they fired the actress that plays Sam.
Yep.
Melissa
for
Barrera.
her comments over Palestine and Israel situation, and then
Mm-hmm.
Jenna
Ooh,
Ortega also left the project, and then the director left the project. So
Christopher
The
Landon.
futures of these is who knows.
yeah,
But the last Ortega's.
I'm sure they'll bring it back at some point because it's an IP that'll make money. But
There is only
I
so much
won't
you
be
can do
seeing
with it, though. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's
Screw
probably the
them.
end of an era.
I assume
Yeah.
the next one will start with the famous actress getting fired from the Stab franchise. Like it kind of is the
That
one
would be
franchise that we'll talk about.
the way
this
to do
stuff.
that.
So,
But after what they did to Nev Campbell too, where they just lowballed the
it's
shit out of
bullshit
her.
talk.
Yeah,
Spyglass Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
boo.
Yeah. No. Sorry, I put it on my list. You're out. It's Evil Dead Rise now. Forget it.
Evil
So I
Dead
can't
Rise
say
was
anything.
was really fun.
Jumping to
was
number
excellent.
9, cutting back to Jacob.
Yep.
Yeah, my number 9. I'm very excited to talk about this one. I just saw it 2 nights ago. The Boy and the Heron, the new Hayao Miyazaki film, his first in 10 years since The Wind Rises in 2013, which was going to be his last film. He retired after making that, but then came out of retirement because he was just like, well, I'm still alive, so I kind of want to make new movies. And he made The Boy and the Heron. This is kind of a long gestating project. It was in development for like 7 years, I think, over COVID and everything. So it was delayed a lot, but I just saw it in theaters and I really liked it. I'm actually in the middle of a Miyazaki like full rewatch where I'm going back and watching all these Miyazaki films that I started in December. And I'm interested to know what Colin, because I know you've seen this too, Colin.
And I have not seen it, but it's high. It's on the list. It's
it's a good one. It's maybe not my favorite Miyazaki or in my favorite couple of Miyazaki. I felt like it was a little. I know there's a lot going on with it. It's maybe his most personal work because it's sort of about his childhood and stuff in a way that a lot of his movies he famously doesn't. He says like I don't put a lot of my own stuff in here, even if it's more is in there. He kind of denies it. But
he's not a young girl who flies airplanes.
No, I don't think so. But this movie, it's a little more esoteric, I guess, than some of his other movies. It's a little harder to follow. For a lot of the movie, I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" Which is not something I normally think in Miyazaki. Like, even his more outlandish kind of movies or magical movies, they still kind of have a internal logic to them. This one, it's kind of like sort of almost a dream logic at times. It's most similar, I think, to Spirited Away of his past work, where it's like a young kid going through a major life change, getting sucked into this magical world and having to figure out what's going on. Kind of, there's a lot of heavy thematic stuff in there. Probably need to watch it again to really understand a lot of it. But I did enjoy it, and there was definitely moments that I really enjoyed, and then some stuff where I was like, I don't know, I'm a little confused. But Colin, what were your thoughts on this movie?
Well, it is on my top 10 too, so I'll kind of wait to rebuttal at you about all that. But I think that's all super fair. What do you say about the most expensive film ever made in Japan now? Like you said, 7 years in the making. So,
but it's doing well financially, even in America. And again, it won a Golden Globe last night. Surprise win over Spider-Man, I think, where it won Best Animated Feature. So we'll see what happens at the Oscars. But I know Spirited Away won before. I think maybe some of his others have won. He doesn't care about awards, of course, but
No.
it's definitely gonna need a rewatch. I listened to the Blank Check podcast episode about it, which is a great movie
Great episode.
podcast. Yeah, and that kind of helped me understand certain things about it. But just in general, I love the animation is great, of course. Miyazaki is one of the all-time masters. I think you can put him up there with any live action auteur in terms of his body of work. Is just like so good. So he's a master, and I love some of the casting choices for the English dub were very funny. Robert Pattinson is great, of course, and Batista as the Parakeet
Hilarious.
King.
Yes.
Loved him as well. So,
that's
yeah,
great.
the boy and the heron.
We're gonna talk more wrestling later, but boy, to be talking Batista in these weird movies he made this year that aren't wrestling. I mean,
And there might be another Dave Batista on the
He's the
list
best.
as well.
wow.
So
Interesting.
we'll see. Stay tuned.
Forgot
number 9
that
for
he's
you,
in
Colin.
May, December. He plays the woman who's obsessed with the actress.
Yeah.
Number 9 for me. Jacob already said not on his list, didn't make the cut. So I'd be curious for you, Mark, Jesus Christ, Mike. But this is John Wick Chapter 4.
That was my 11th. Yeah, just
just missed it.
Yeah, got bumped out.
Mike, sorry, did you say on your list?
On the list. Higher
on your list. I'll just briefly say then before we discuss it more, because I know you will probably be mainly focusing on Rin Sawaya. Is that what her name was?
Oh,
the incredible, the incredible actress who's in that film. A movie that when I saw it, I was like, boy, I don't know, but it's left me really, really thinking about it. I think Chad Stahelski has a lot to say about life and death in blockbusters, and he really pulls it off in that franchise. So, John Wick, Chapter 4.
Yeah, no, I like that. I have another wrestler with number 9, Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, the 9th movie. John Cena does the voice in that, I believe. Just a fun movie, interesting animation, another animated movie,
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I thought would be a real contender for the Academy Award or the Golden Globes. So kind of surprised to see it's not getting that love.
There's just so many.
You got it. Yeah.
In terms of animation, this year is really strong year. I mean, you had new Miyazaki, you had Spider-Man. Obviously, you had Elemental, I guess. New Pixar. So
on your list,
yeah.
Yep.
Not on my list.
Like the Turtles.
Spoiler, that's Jacob's number 1.
Right.
Turtles is one of my honorable mentions. It was number 17 on my list, in case you're wondering.
I'm very turtle biased. Obviously, I think it's been documented on the podcast. I like the Turtles a lot, and it had the most mutants. It was a mayhem. It had the most mutants in any Ninja Turtles property. It was a lot of fun. The kids did a great job with the voice acting. It's got a great kind of vibe. It's like maybe the best turtle movie besides the original, for quality, because 2 is camp. But anyway. That's
strong plot, fucking Jackie Chan, the fucking milking joke. I remember to this day being so funny.
And seeing Splinter doing Jackie Chan antics with the office chair and using all their weapons, you've never seen that, so it's kind of neat.
Yes,
that's great.
Family.
And speaking of the turtles, you got to get on Fortnite and get these new turtle skins that I missed because I got home from the holidays. I was like, let me get on Fortnite and. Because I know they had the turtle skins because our friend Joe, of course, bought them. So he's been playing with the turtles. I was like, I'm going to drop some money on these fucking turtles. Go on the store. They're not on there anymore. I missed them. No. So they need to bring back the turtles so I can buy them. So I can give you my money, Epic.
Yeah, I want this design of the turtles. So give me the Mutant Mayhem
turtles.
That'd
be dope.
That'd be sick. But anyway, I'll have to check that out.
Jacob, I saw they just brought back Ripley and the Xenomorph. Do you have
I own
both of those? Oh, okay, good. Awesome.
Of course.
Gotta have the running around with a shotgun. It's fucking wild.
Very scary.
Yeah.
It is.
I just say, shut up and take my money, Epic Games.
Yep.
Anyways.
Good motto. Number 8, though.
Back to Jacob for number 7.
Are we at 7?
Number 8, I think.
Oh, number 8. Sorry, that's right.
Number 8 for me is a movie that came out on Netflix, went straight to Netflix, getting a lot of buzz, sort of a smaller drama. It's May December, directed by Todd Haynes, starring Julianne Moore, Natalie Portman, and Charles Melton. This, of course, is the movie. It's based on a real story about a woman who was a teacher, like a middle school teacher, I think, and like was in a sexual relationship with a student who was like 13 at the time. Illegal, of course,
Right.
And she went to jail for statutory rape. But when she got out of jail, she ended up having this kid's baby in jail, and then when they got out of jail, they married and were like married for like 20 years or something. So it's not 100% based on that story because the names are different and certain details are different, but it's loosely based on that story. And that woman ended up dying of cancer. But really interesting story. And Colin, again, I know you've seen this as well, probably on your list. Am I right?
Absolutely. And it's Mary Lou Laterna, I believe. And Mike,
Yes.
I think we're old enough, all of us, to remember this. But do you remember when South Park parodied this event while it was happening with Ike, Stan's younger brother, dating his teacher?
Yeah.
Very inappropriately.
I do remember this in pop culture, like this event and the getting married afterwards. That's very fucking wild. But South Park.
Wild story. Of course,
Mary Lou Retton, Mary Lou Laterna. I can't remember.
I think that's right.
Laterna. It is okay.
And it's interesting. Obviously, if the genders are swapped, people have a lot more revulsion to that kind of idea. But it's still wrong and bad to do, in the way that it was. So, but this is kind of dealing with this relationship 20 years later, and this actress that's played by Natalie Portman is going to be playing the woman played by Julianne Moore in the movie. So she's kind of visiting them to study this woman to like become her kind of. And I thought the standout of the movie was not the two more established actresses, but it was actually Charles Melton, who, Colin, I know your favorite show, Riverdale, he was in that, right?
Oh, absolutely was. And very controversially, I don't know if you guys know this, he played the character Reggie, who was originally portrayed in the first season by Ross Butler, who was in those Shazam movies. He's like the one that wears like the green suit, like magic body that they turn into.
Sure.
And it was kind of unexpected. The guy just left and didn't want to do Riverdale anymore. People got very nervous and upset. How can you replace this fan favorite character? And they brought Charles Melton in, who I believe started dating the actress who plays Veronica, Camila Mendez, like right away, but immediately got boosted up to like a huge part and became a fan favorite because he is quite a good actor. And I loved seeing him break through in this, Jacob. It's
he killed it in this. Just the way he's a 34-year-old, but he's basically a 13-year-old boy trapped in the body of a 34-year-old, and the way he carries himself and like in this movie is just incredible. So he'll be Oscar nominated for sure. Probably won't win because of Robert Downey Jr. or whoever, but really incredible for a sort of a first movie like this coming out of a long-running show like Riverdale. Like he's got a bright future for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a statement. That's very cool.
Yeah, it's a very kind of high or sort of melodrama camp type of movie, but it's really fun, really interesting movie for sure.
Got it. Well, so we're 8. Colin, what's your number 8 then?
My number 8 is Past Lives, which is
I've heard
kind
about
of
this.
Following in the vein of what Jacob's saying. Just a beautiful, light little drama. It's a film made by a Korean-American first-time director whose name is... Let me find that real quick. Celine Kim, is that what it is? Celine Song, apologies. Celine Song, and I guess she was a theater director. She's making her theatrical debut here. And it's just this beautiful drama about a boy and a girl who grew up in Korea and end up just separated from each other. Is this on either of your guys' lists?
This is not one I've seen yet. It's definitely on my list to see, but I have not had the chance to see it yet. Interestingly, because the Golden Globes just happened yesterday, I'm going to compare everything to what got nominated and stuff. But she was nominated for Best Director. So she was up with Scorsese and Nolan and Greta Gerwig and her, basically. So to be in with those, more established directors, definitely for your first feature is like pretty good. And then this also won... or this was nominated for Best foreign language film, but it was USA's submission, which I
That's
didn't even
strange,
understand how
yeah.
that works. But
I'd
Interesting.
love to know.
I didn't know that was possible. But I guess because it's mostly or partially in Korean, it's considered a foreign language film. But it's
Interesting.
shot in
Yeah.
America.
Wim Wenders, like the incredible German director, made a Japanese film this year about cleaning toilets that I saw a trailer for when I saw The Boy and the Heron, Jacob, where I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
movies are crazy now.
Yeah.
Anybody can just make whatever they want. So
Sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
and Past Lives falls into that. I'd highly recommend it. It's a beautiful love story. It doesn't go how you'd think it would, but it goes how your heart knows it will.
And
So.
A24, they were paying people correctly during all that striking. So we like to support
Yeah,
the A24
Maybe another
projects.
A24 movie coming up as well.
Mike, important to point out, lead actress Greta Lee, who was known for that, what was that time loop Netflix show with Natasha Lyonne? Russian Doll? Is that what that
Russian
was
that's
Doll,
right.
yeah.
Yep.
Right, she was the big spring on that. I saw her on a Graham Norton mic, and she was like, the reason that I'm even here and able to publicize this is because A24, signed all those, vouchers and releases to let people work and, did all the correct things during the strike. And I loved it. So that is so worth pointing out, dude.
For
And
sure.
I don't know, this is just another side note. I don't know what role, but she's credited for some voices in the Spider-Verse movies. So.
Oh, I believe she plays the young, the one who rides the Evangelion one. What's her name?
Penny Parker.
Penny Parker, yes. Thank you.
Yeah,
I believe she does voice Penny Parker.
Oh,
Gotcha.
sure.
She's very
good
cool.
job, Greta Lee. I have a very controversial number 8.
I'm
I
ready.
love it.
It's strictly on how much I would want to watch it again ever, and it's Oppenheimer. It's number 8.
Oh, sure.
It's in the top 10, and I think Nolan directed the hell out of it. But it's all dialogue, which he does a great job of making that interesting. I don't think I want to visit it again. I saw it in
Probably wouldn't
IMAX.
watch it
The
again.
explosion, it's like I don't know. It didn't pay off.
Yeah.
I don't think it deserved to be shot in IMAX. I think that was the format doesn't serve this
Well,
story. But that's just my hot take.
Nolan
It's
just likes
nuclear, but you know.
Nolan just likes large format, like cameras and stuff, so he shoots everything that way, even if it's
and
not.
for the one
doesn't
scene
need
where
it.
it's spectacle, but this didn't warrant it. But it was a great, incredible movie. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just I don't know. I kind of have no motivation to visit it again.
I don't think you're that crazy, Mike, considering where I'm going to talk about it in my top 10 here in just a second. But Jacob, I know you probably have this in yours as well, right? Your top 10
It's a
somewhere.
little
all saw this
higher for
together,
me.
yeah.
I'm sure. So
But
not
I'm
crazy.
All right.
No, I think we all liked it. I don't think it's anyone's number one of the year, not even my number one. It does look like it's destined to sweep the Oscars in terms of Best Picture, Best Director, some acting awards.
I mean, yeah.
It's sort of Nolan's year to get his flowers because he's never really won before. He's never really made an Oscar type movie. So this is kind of like Christopher Nolan, all right, book it. So
Yeah, I mean, Cillian Murphy just being stressed out, like it's like, oh my god, like
Cillian Murphy, I
great.
love it. I love him in this movie. He was great.
Mhm.
Robert Downey Jr. is pretty much a lock to win Best Supporting. I thought he was fine. I don't think he was like
I
amazing.
don't think he was outstanding either, but
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy certainly great job.
I guess
But yeah,
people are just like,
that's
well, he's
it.
not doing Iron Man because he's only played Iron Man mostly for the past 15 years. So he's sort of proving that he still has range, I guess.
Dr. Doolittle's not even out here.
Yeah,
Best performance he's ever given.
Right,
Did he
of
do
course.
Sherlock Holmes?
Oh, yeah.
Sherlock Holmes,
Yikes.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, he's
He's
had
only
some
our
other
favorite.
franchises that didn't work out so well.
That's fine though. But that's number 8. So good job. It's a great movie. Just I have different tastes, but it deserves all the awards it's probably going to get. Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally valid placement, I think, for that.
It has become
Thank you.
destroyer of your list. No, we get it, Mike.
Yeah, 8. Nice. I like it. I like it. Well, what's number 7 if we're climbing up here for you, Jacob?
Well, let's see. We did Colin's number 8. Oh yeah. So all right, number 7. This is a good one, and I know it's probably on your guys' list as well. I'm talking Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves.
I'd love to hear it's high up on this list, buddy. I'd love to hear it.
I'll just
Number
say
7.
Mine's one up. It's 6, so it's adjacent to you.
Oh,
So
And I had this higher
Dungeons
too,
and
but it did
Dragons.
get bumped out by some other recent ones I saw. But of course, I love this movie. I mean, this is the highest blockbuster franchise type of movie I have. Well, other than okay, maybe not. There's two other ones, but yeah, this movie was great. I hope it gets a sequel. You know,
Yeah.
we all do. But of course, just loved it. Loved everything about it. I mean, it's the perfect Dungeons and Dragons movie that I could have ever hoped to see. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, more of this world, but that's great. A good addition. You know, we did an episode, go back and listen, but we love this thing. We like our Star Trek, you know, Captain Kirk getting a little bit of shine.
That's right.
You know, he's very funny and charming, but yeah, that's a good addition.
Yeah.
Did you guys say this on air? This might have been a friend of the podcast, Matt or Jacob. I can't remember if this was you, but when you guys were playing the other day, we were talking Dungeons and Dragons, and somebody said it would be a cool idea if the next movie was all the same actors rolling different characters. I think that's really
yes.
American Horror
I think I
Story
said
style.
that.
Would be sick.
Yeah, I wanted all the same cast, but they're all different classes, different characters.
That's mighty interesting, my friend.
That's
I think
something
that's
that-
a really good idea.
Yeah, I don't think the studio or whoever would go for it just because they're like, well, it's not going to be marketable, but I think that would be a really fun move to do for
I've
a
heard,
sequel.
yeah, that's like the most D&D thing, and I've also heard it pitched that like if a character dies, they just show up in like different armor
That's
as a new
interesting.
character.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's me again. Yeah.
Yes.
They should have Reggie Jean Page, the paladin in the first one, have him come back as a different character, and he's like
Sophia
the one friend
Lillis
that
gets killed. She's a barbarian now. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah, and it's just you have the same face, but we're not gonna mention that. You're a different character.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's
that would
funny.
be funny.
What's
But
your
I would just
7,
take any
Colin?
sequel based on how it did. I mean, it wasn't a huge hit, but hopefully it found sort of a life in
A
streaming
little bit
and
of
people
streaming
discovering it that missed it in theaters, and hopefully it gets a sequel.
Yeah,
Also,
the
fuck
strange
wizards.
non-committal comments that we got from our favorite Chris lately, Chris Pine, who was like, will there be another sequel? I'd love if there was, where it's like, oh, that's not great.
That's
Nope.
kind of the same
No.
thing he says about Star
Yeah.
Trek now.
Yeah, you're like,
is there going to be
"Oh."
another Star Trek film? I would love it if there was. Yeah, maybe like a lower budget one. Yeah.
I mean, just with the
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate buzz for the brand, you'd think that would move the needle somewhat, but they
Yeah.
probably just do a Baldur's Gate movie for that branding. I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, 7, Colin, where are you at? I just rolled a 7, and so did you.
There we go. This is kind of what I think it was a little seen one. I don't believe it's on either of your lists. This is an animated film in Japan that came out at the end of 2022, but it got an American release here in 2023, so I'm going to count it. It is Suzume. Did either of you guys see Suzume?
I know of it.
I have
don't
not,
watch a ton of
no.
anime, but I had friends that saw it and enjoyed it greatly. It looks like a sweet little story. So tell me why you liked it, because I haven't seen it, but I've seen the trailer.
It's the new film from Makoto Shinkai. He's the award-winning director of Your Name, which was previously the #1 film ever made in Japan until this
sure,
year,
yeah.
which of course has been replaced by this bird and a man who pukes up a bird that screams at you, or a bird that screams up a man that screams at you.
It's a man side of a bird. Yeah.
Let me say this, Jacob.
Birdman.
This is a film about a young woman who opens magic doors that take her to different times and realities, and she might
Sure.
have to face down a missing loved one that she goes on an adventure with through these doors. So if that sounds familiar to another animated Japanese film this year, I just think that's an interesting concept that these directors seem to be using to work through some sort of trauma. This one is not World War II based trauma. This is just about a young girl kind of getting over some stuff in her life. I think it's just a great look at loss and depression. So I think it's just a beautiful movie.
And is
I'm gonna
there
have to
like
check
a
that out.
wooden chair that's involved? in
There's a
this movie?
magic boy who is turned into a wooden chair who is the companion on this film, a la something like a Howl's Moving Castle, where that prince is turned into that hopping scarecrow,
Oh, sure.
right? Now, Jacob, the Golden Globes did just occur, as you said.
Yes.
The oldest man on the planet was there.
This is what I
Harrison
was
Ford,
going to
talking
mention.
about Indiana Jones, of course. Now, he was snapped in a picture holding that
Yes.
adorable little chair. Yes.
That's what I was going to bring
Aw.
up. It's Harrison Ford holding this
Yeah.
chair, and I'm like, I
Mhm.
guess that's from this movie. So
Yeah,
I
it
wanted to mention that. Yes, very
That's
funny.
cool.
very cute.
Good for him.
Nice.
Mike, number 7.
Number 7. It's big Marvel. Dave Bautista back at it again. Guardians 3.
Woo!
thought that was
right.
very good, so
Wow.
I like
Guardians
D&D
3
slightly
making
more,
the list.
but I loved Guardians 3.
Yeah,
So
What a
John, you're
year
next.
Batista had. That's
Yeah, what a
great.
year.
that was number 15 on my list.
You make the cut, but you saw
Honorable
like actual
mentions.
films. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did this make your cut, Colin, or is it lower?
No, I would put this at like 11 or something. This was one of those cuspers for me, Mike.
Okay, yeah. So this is just burning. You know, we the end of James Gunn's tenure. I think he did a great job. I mean, a CG little guy made me feel emotions. Like, how did you do that? What a magic trick. So yeah, it's the end. It's like the last good Marvel movie that we might ever get. So
maybe the only one that will ever have closure.
Yeah, that's true. They get completed arcs, or at least
and because they let James Gunn have so much control over the narrative of these 3 movies, and it let him have this sort of self-contained trilogy, which they don't seem to do with every franchise. Like with Spider-Man, you know, like they're just gonna make another one now probably, and
they're tied with Doctor Strange and all this. Like they're kind of contained, and it's the most cohesive trilogy in the MCU, I think, for sure.
Yeah, and now James Gunn has obviously moved on to DC. Best of luck to him there.
We'll see if any of that makes our lists at the next year's recap.
I just don't
Aquaman,
think
anybody?
work. I get so nervous the more that it.
Well, hopefully he can make some movies before Warner Brothers goes out of business. But
before Disney buys them.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I guess.
But they buy Paramount. It's a very weird world right now.
Yeah.
Star Trek and no. But yeah, the Guardians, they did it. So that's
love it. Great choice.
7. What about your 6?
Great
Jacob?
choice.
Because mine was Dungeons and Dragons.
Number 6. Now we're getting to the really.
Oh, anything else you want to say about Dungeons and Dragons, Mike?
Oh no, we love it. We love it. I wish that Hasbro had not fired everybody who worked on Baldur's Gate and made them a ton of money.
Yeah.
Like I'm conflicted because I love the movie, I want more, but I don't want them to have profit. What can you do?
They just admitted today, after denying it and getting caught up in a huge scandal, that they were using AI generated art for the background of Magic the Gathering cards.
Oh yeah. I did hear about that.
Fuck you, Hasbro. Fuck you, Wizards of the Coast. Not cool.
Yeah.
Not cool. So that's
and the games industry, you know, is obviously fucked where massive layoffs are happening, even when, you know, people are saying 2023 was one of the best video game years of all time in terms of
happening in a lot of industries.
Some of the releases. Yeah. So it's just a shame. Number 6 for me, we're getting to the really good stuff now.
Pay for? Yeah.
Well, this is a company that we like, A24 again.
Okay.
Nice. I'm talking the Iron Claw.
Hell,
the saddest movie ever made.
Sweaty boys.
Yes.
Greasy boys.
This movie I saw in theaters in Miami. Went out and saw it and absolutely loved it. It's, if you know the story, obviously it's the story of the Von Erichs, the wrestling family. A bunch of brothers who, spoiler alert, pretty much a bunch of them died. And it's very sad, and but also like really fun. Like the beginning, the first half is really fun. It's a real dudes rock kind of movie. Zac Efron,
about time, dog. Hell yeah.
A lot of Kenergy. Zac Efron
it is.
As Kevin Von Erich is given a lot of Kenergy. And they're just, you know, they just want to hang out, have a good time with their brothers. And then the second half of the movie is just like one sad thing after another. It's the true life story is so sad that they cut out one of the brothers that died because it would just be too like unrealistic that it would be that tragic.
I think they shot scenes with a wrestler MJF, and that like they cut all of it out.
Oh
too.
yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but this movie was really great. You know, obviously it's the story of the Von Erichs. Zac Efron, like I said, fucking killed it. He should be nominated for an Oscar. He was amazing. His body is insane. He's like insanely ripped.
I've not seen it. This would, I think, definitely make my top 10 if I did see it. Let's talk about that body for a second, because I think this is worth mentioning.
Talk about that body.
This is not body shaming. I want to talk about this real quick.
No, this is the opposite for me. I think he's in incredible shape.
Okay.
I'm sure he's or something. It's not a competition, so I think it's okay.
I have some villainous opinions.
Okay,
here's the thing. Now, he's obviously on steroids, HGH, all this stuff. He's saying that he's not. Let's talk about Zac Efron real quick. After Baywatch, which was where he was his most cut, but also super lean, he was clearly taking cycles, like steroids, like I don't know. Okay. He got into a motorcycle accident afterwards.
Yes.
Said that he had to receive some facial
Jaw
surgery and he's
surgery,
got this
yeah.
changed John stuff. And Jacob, there have been pictures released after that motorcycle accident. He hurt his leg. Like there's like there was nothing done to his
Like
head.
Carrie Von Erich.
Obviously, this is the result of just the HGH. I'll say this. Kumail Nanjiani, after the Eternals, must have been in the same motorcycle accident, Jacob, because
Well,
he's got the same John face. Now,
I don't want
again,
to be mean to him.
I'm not
his
body
face
shaming or being
looks very
mean. Now, the
different than it
reason
used
that
to.
I say this is, and because, yes, it's so true and so obvious that it is a fallout and result of him doing the drugs. People say, what's the harm? What's the harm? If these actors want to do this stuff, I watch Jack Reacher. I'm the worst of them all, okay? when these people say, like, let them do it. They're not professional athletes. Let them do it. They should be able to look like whatever. I think psychologically it is bad. And the ones that I think are bad are the Marvel movies, where it's like, I'm Scott Lang. I'm a thief. I'm Paul Rudd, where I'm 45 years old. Look at my washboard abs. That's horrifying.
Well, Paul Rudd
Don't
just doesn't
do
age.
that for young kids. That's
Yeah.
regardless. Now, to contrast it, I think when you're doing a big weirdo beefcake wrestling movie, I think this is kind of when you have to be able and allowed to do it. And I think Jacob, yes, give him the Oscar because he looks so convincing.
That's
Yeah,
wow, that's great.
He really went for it. I mean,
Logic.
he looks like his body looks great. His face, I didn't want to be mean to him because of the jaw surgery and all this stuff, but I thought maybe he had some work done or something.
He had to have.
But
I'm sure
it's
to correct
the peer
whatever the
pressure
growth is
of the industry, right? It's
horrible.
Much worse for women, I'm sure, but for men it could still be bad.
But,
it's the unrealistic body
psychologically,
standards.
again, what these kids, the fact that every kid now who's like 5-year-old goes, my hero is the Avengers, and you look at them in a row and they're these Adonis Greek gods, that's not good or healthy. That is super not good.
I agree with that.
Feedback on this too, because there's also like fitness influencers and stuff who are always saying they're natural and not taking shit. So it's like you can't attain it. And I think again, Jacob, like women have been dealing with it for a long time, but it also men can have body dysmorphia. You know,
it's just different. Sure. Yeah,
like, it's just a different thing. But that is kind of.
But when the unrealistic standard is that you have to be super ripped and super like bulky and stuff like these superheroes and stuff, it can lead to a lot of psychological problems for sure.
Yeah, and we grew up with Schwarzenegger and Stallone, and it was an iconic era. But it's like I don't think we need more of that. You know.
But I think when literally he's doing 2 Neighbor movies back to back, where the joke is you're so cut, you're so ripped, you're so good looking. The girls, the sorority takes over in Neighbors too, and they're doing the press with the girls where they're like, what do you think of Zac Efron's body? He's got such an incredible body. I think that gets back to him, and he's like, right, I always have to have this incredible
as he gets older,
body.
It's harder to keep that up, and for sure.
But
and I'll just say,
so sick.
In a wrestling
even if you
movie,
compare
that context is wild, but
well, he can draw on it for sure. Yeah.
Well, I'll just say this: if you compare, all you have to do is compare Hugh Jackman in X-Men, the first X-Men movie, and what his body looked like in that, compared to what his body looked like in some of the later ones, and it's insane how much things changed just in the last like 20 years. But Huge Jackman, he really became that. But the Iron Claw. And I'll say this. So Zac Efron looks like insane, like I said, but it's really stark contrast to some of the brothers like Jeremy Allen White, who played Carrie Von Erich, who got in good shape for this role, but not to the extent that Zac Efron. He's not insanely ripped and huge like Zac Efron is in this movie. He did his best, but he's playing Carrie Von Erich, who, if you look at pictures of Carrie Von Erich, that guy was insanely huge, and
he's like 6'8". He's like a giant.
And Jeremy Allen White, he's shorter. I think he's under 6 foot. He did his best. I thought he was
like
good.
5'8" dog. I think he's very tidy.
Love the bear. But he did
just won a Golden Globe last
night
too. Yeah.
But Zac Efron was definitely the star of the show, and but all the the cast was great. Yeah.
So Colin, you haven't seen it yet, but
I have not.
Same.
No,
I'm a big wrestling fan. Like in real life, I know the story of the Von Erichs, and it is really tragic. So this has been on my radar bigly. I just haven't had time. But Jacob,
we have a lot of
wrestling friends.
we have
we have a lot of wrestling friends.
Our friend Andrew, who's a big wrestling guy, saw it and he loved it as well. So that's a good endorsement from a an old school wrestling fan.
Someone who knows the industry and all that. But
Yeah.
my question is to you, Jacobs, and I'll have to ask Andy too. Is this the best movie about pro wrestling? Has The Wrestler
I think
been
The
supplanted?
Wrestler, I would put The Wrestler above this one because I love that movie as well. Probably my favorite Darren Aronofsky film.
You would launch a ram jam on the Von Erich brothers? Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, he did it. He did it, folks.
I
And
did it.
well,
He
for
wrote-
me, that movie, I mean, the context of the Mickey Rourke sort of resurgence role for him,
yeah.
how sad that movie is. I don't know why every wrestling movie has to be super sad, but it does.
It's a tough
Well, it's a
industry,
very
especially
sad
in that era.
profession. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Just wait for the Chris Benoit movie.
Oh, jeez.
Can I pitch mine real quick? What I've
Yeah.
always, I mean, it's the best story ever. I don't know how nobody's done this, but how you don't make a movie called Hell in the Cell that is literally just the Mankind Madison Square Garden Undertaker match, where it's like a little before it, you watch the whole thing play out, and then you watch the ending. I mean, that's the most famous wrestling match of all time.
And then
Sure.
you do like the business, like we're cutting through
Yeah.
kayfabe, the prep, the whole
Yes.
drama of the
You
Oppenheimer
do like
of pulling that
Jobs,
off.
where it's like the whole story is like the performance and how you get to it, basically.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure they're going
What
to
are
make
spots?
the Bret Hart movie next. That's going to be
Well,
super
you'd
sad.
think.
Sad
Yeah,
shit
yeah,
too,
yeah.
and the Hart
Yeah.
family too. He gets
Yeah.
it's wild.
Yeah, and they should just have
yeah,
a
with
wrestling
Owen.
connected universe. Something.
Oh,
There's an
jeez.
actor that plays Ric Flair in this movie who's not very
Mhm.
good, but
Right.
Oh, we're about to talk Florence Pugh because she's in my next movie that we're about to talk about. But did
Oh,
you
that's
guys
right.
ever see that Wrestling with
Paige.
My Family?
Yeah,
That's
Paige
right.
movie that The
she was
Rock
in
made.
she was Paige. Yeah,
Yep.
He
Yep.
was
That's
Paige.
right. Wow.
that was like
A lot of
right before her
wrestling happening.
breakout. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that
Um,
movie. Stephen Merchant directed it. Very weird.
Yeah,
It's
Lee and
giving
Hetty,
it
isn't
gives me Tooth Fairy vibes, like energy wise.
Nick Frost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick Frost. We'll check it out.
Well, yeah, it is kind of The Rock's Tooth Fairy.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. But 6 then, Colin. We have an iron claw
Let's-
from Jacob.
It's Oppenheimer. So let's just say real quick,
Yeah.
before we get to when Jacob wants to talk about it, I agree with everything you said, Mike. My fear, Jacob, is again that it becomes the weird kind of boring, safe choice if it's sort of this, barreling down towards Nolan getting his flowers. Great for him if he's going to. That's cool. He deserves it, right? As he's a great director.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and this is his
It didn't
best
change
chance.
my life.
No.
Yeah.
I'll say this for a guy who the main criticism about him was you're so sexless, you have no sex in your movies, to have the one thing everyone knows about Robert J. Oppenheimer, the dumb speech he gives of I am death. I have become death, destroy worlds to happen during a sex scene, I think is really funny, and him dropping the mic. So
That is
Well, this
really
is
good.
this is his first movie that like has a sex scene in it. I'm pretty sure. So that's a step forward, I guess.
yeah.
So that's why it's number 6 on your list.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about it a little more when it gets to my because I have
Yeah.
a few other thoughts as well. But
Well, I think that's probably a good place to take a quick break before we get into top 5 because mine was Dungeons
Yeah.
and Dragons and I think we've run it. So yeah, we'll be right back with the top 5, the big finale 2023 right after this.
We're back here on Normies Like Us, where we have been counting down our top 10 movies of the year of 2023 as we head into 2024. You just heard the bottom 5. Let's get up to that top 5 now, Jacob. Let's hit it with your number 5.
all right, number 5. Another
This is
movie I
serious
saw
territory.
just recently.
Top
Yeah,
5,
we're getting in good stuff here. This one maybe not on your guys' list, or maybe you haven't seen it, but for me, I thought it was great. I'm talking Asteroid City, the new Wes Anderson film.
I'm kind of thumbs down on this movie, dog.
Kinda
I
thumbs
did
down?
see this.
I didn't
Yeah.
see it, so make your case.
I don't always I don't love every Wes Anderson movie, and actually the last couple I haven't liked as much. The French Dispatch and Isle of Dogs kind of bounced off those one. This one I really liked, and I think it's sort of a return to form for him. One of his best, in my opinion. And I just really liked it. It's sort of it's a 1950s UFO movie. A lot about Americana and UFO type stuff. Great cast, a lot of his regulars, of course, but
You keep saying it's Margot Robbie's best movie of the year. Wow, what a controversial
she's
take.
definitely in it. Yeah. Scarlett Johansson, Jason Schwartzman, he's never been in
Great
a Wes
Scarlett
Anderson
Johansson
movie.
scene in this
Nope.
movie.
Yeah, and there's an alien in this movie, so
Hey.
I love that. He's a little guy. He's a little stop motion alien, as you might expect from a
Oh,
Wes
that's
Anderson
fun.
movie.
Okay.
Yeah. But of course, Wes Anderson, his style is of course very distinctive. A lot of imitators, but no one can do it quite like him, I think. And
What do you think of the dumbass? Because he seems to be the person people do the most of. AI prompt, a Wes Anderson
I think they're all
Star
terrible.
Wars. Thank you.
They
I love
get-
this, Jacob.
Yeah. There's like a couple things they draw on, but they don't really seem to undernd like the essence of Wes Anderson.
It's always just
usually
like
just someone
wallpaper.
centered
It's
in the
like-
middle of the frame
It's
or something.
It's like a 4x6 letterboxing, people in the center of the frame, and wallpaper in the back, and they're like, and he's holding a lightsaber.
Right.
Yeah. And those are the most lazy things because all you have to do is put in the prompt Wes Anderson Star Wars or whatever, and it'll make it for you, and then it's clickbait or whatever. But they're never good.
Yeah, no, and that's why art is art. But there's also a social media trend that happened where it was like my life but a Wes Anderson movie. But even when humans are trying to do it, it's like it is just center frame. Like they don't understand, and nobody.
That's what I'm saying.
does.
So
That's why
many
nobody
people
does
have
it like him.
imitated his style,
Yep.
but they don't get it like he does.
They
And
don't have
because
the
he's
23 herbs and spices.
Yeah, and he's had such a singular vision of his aesthetic and everything. And this one, it's framed as like a play within the movie, which is interesting, because it kind of cuts to the making of the play at certain points. But the way the story is framed in this, it's like this small desert town, and I don't even like the way it's shot and everything. It's incredible. Like the staging, like so much work goes into this production that I don't think people realize. Like, and he's so meticulous. Like, not everybody likes that style because it's so like fussy and meticulous, but it's that's his thing. It's like he makes these intricate doll houses of movies, and they're not for everyone. I think if you're not a Wes Anderson film, this isn't going to change your mind at all. It's still very Wes Anderson, but if you do like his best movies, I think this is one of his best. So yeah,
I mean, I enjoy the Tenenbaums. When I
that's my favorite. Royal Tenenbaums.
Darjeeling,
Rushmore is great. Darjeeling Limited.
I'm a hotel guy.
Brothers Bloom,
Grand Budapest Hotel. Yeah.
Keep naming them. Life Aquatic.
Hey, they're all good. Fantastic.
I like his work. I just haven't seen this one yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So check that out. Asteroid City.
The
Now,
top five
how?
is really. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, please.
I'm just saying it's like it's gonna be. It shows the personalities of the hosts. I think what we're putting in our top five, because it's not on quality, it's on personal preference, so to speak.
Absolutely.
So this is where you get to kind of learn about us.
Because all my top 10 I consider like really good movies, and some of the ones that you have higher, like I like, even if they're in my honorable mentions, I still really liked them. They just didn't make my top. So
yeah,
this didn't move you.
It's almost like this kind of stuff is subjective.
That's right.
Colin.
Yeah. I'll say for my number 5 here, this was my favorite movie going experience this year. This was Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah, great.
I thought you were about to say something else. Pope's Exorcist.
Well, that was my favorite. That was my favorite film to talk about with people this year. But my favorite, Jacob, I don't know if you recall, you and I went to the California premiere of this film. We got a little dressed up. We got to see it with the creators and animators. The staff gave speeches. We were in a hot theater, Mike. Everybody was fucking clapping at every moment. I would say every joke worked. Is this on either of you guys' lists? Should I keep going here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Higher up for me. I love this movie. And,
I love it.
Wow.
And going to that LA premiere was a really fun time, and definitely probably my favorite movie going experience of the year. So
I love it. I'm going to wait to address what I think is obviously the big criticism that people have for this movie. So I'll just leave it at that. Say that was my number 5.
Gotcha. My number 5 is, the greatest movie that nobody cares about, and it's Ghost Protocol. No, the Dead Reckoning Part 1, Mission Impossible.
Hooray!
Tom Cruise, weird guy, but wow, what a movie. there's the stunts. This is my number 5. I just think it was clever. It was sharp. It like felt like paced well. Like the back and forth, backstabbing, spy stuff. Like it's exactly what you would hope to get from a Mission Impossible movie. It's maybe the best one, and it's not over.
I love this take. It is your favorite Mission Impossible up to this point.
We just especially with the action. Fallout's really good too, though. It's one of these.
Fallout's good. I liked it a lot. I think I like Fallout and Rogue Nation better. And those movies I think made my top 10 of those years, but this movie I have at 13, which is still pretty good. So
Colin, is this on yours at all?
It's not. It's the first modern or since the relaunch post 3, like Jacob's saying, to not make it on my top 10 list this year. I'm a little sad about that.
I enjoyed the physical, and this might be telling. Yeah, practical effects. I like the stunts. He's our Jackie Chan, that Tom Cruise, putting himself in danger for our entertainment.
Great guy.
Thank you, Tom.
Well, you did get a text to put this on your list, and it did say "make it so." Is that correct, Mike?
Yeah, I did actually. So I fulfill that obligation. I don't want to be reckoned dead.
No, you don't want to upset the entity.
No.
And shout out to, of course, our friend Matt, who Normies, go back and listen to our Mission Impossible episode, one of my favorites of the year that we did, where we kind of broke down the whole franchise.
You
our
watched
friend
them all.
Matt, friend of the pod, basically we converted him to become a Mission Impossible fan from that episode, which maybe some of his loved ones and stuff don't fully appreciate yet, but he's now a huge Mission Impossible fan. So
he said this is his number 1 of the year too. But Mike, I'm going to say, and what I wanted to say earlier, and I said I would hold off till we got to this point in your list, is that this is maybe wins an award for the most important movie, not just ever released this year, but ever made, because of course, I don't know if you saw this. Jacob and I were talking about this at Camp David. Of course, President Joe Biden screened this movie and then had a conversation with his Security Council afterwards to say, hey, is this an actual threat? We need to investigate AI stuff. So he was spooked by the entity.
Yeah, which, again, the AI Hollywood threat, they were doing Magic the Gathering. AI is a real thing.
Hey, Jack. Hey there, Jack. Here's the thing.
Computers.
They got all these ones and zeros out there in the entity. He's got my bank card, and I don't know about that, Jack.
Are you wearing a mask, Jack? Is that you?
We got call Tom. Get Cruz on the phone, Jack.
He can also fight Top Gun. Is that Top Gun? Get him in here. But yeah, I had fun with it. And
didn't Tom Cruise even say like the reason partially why they made it about AI was to like warn people about the real dangers of AI and that kind of thing? So in a way, he was telling President Biden, look, this is an important issue. We need to do something about the entity.
And we already have Terminator 2, but
Yeah.
But yeah, number 5.
Yeah, just what? Yeah, did Sleepy Joe never watch D2?
Yeah, the greatest sequel ever made.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, come on.
You know about Cyberdyne Systems and Skynet? They're taking over.
Come on, John Connor.
It's a real issue.
Jack Connor.
That's a great number, Jacob? 5. Number 4. Oh boy. And I know you guys are going to want to talk about this one. And probably, I mean, you both probably have this higher. So, I mean, I know you do. So, it's of course, it's the second movie about post-war Japan on my list.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah. I'm talking, of course, Godzilla Minus One.
Yes. Top 5.
What a movie.
See it.
Yes. I saw this in theaters back in December a couple weeks ago, and man, what a movie.
Yeah.
What a movie. Godzilla, best Godzilla movie I've ever seen. I haven't seen the original, which, you know, people say is good. But absolutely loved it. And it's like, you know, the best monster movie I've ever seen. So best kaiju movie, whatever you want to say. You know, everything about it. I love the design and the animation of the big guy himself. He looked great in this. He's absolutely savage. He's just fucking shit up. And I love the human characters. I love the human drama, the story. It all just works. Gojira, love it.
And you never like the human characters in these kind of movies. Generally, that's
and this
the
one,
thing.
I never care about them.
Yeah.
And this one has a great story. I love the idea to make the main character, the protagonist, a kamikaze pilot who deserted because he was scared.
Mhm.
And I just think
Damn.
it's such an interesting time for Japan specifically to, a country that values honor above all else, right?
Yep.
A very honor sort of obsessed culture. And you have this national embarrassment of losing this war, being bombed by America,
Mhm.
and having to deal with all that aftermath and just being just embarrassed on a national scale of like, oh, our honor has been besmirched. And then you have the main character, someone who deserted, was supposed to, do a kamikaze mission and
Mhm.
honorably kill himself basically, and said, I'm afraid, and ran away. And he has to go through this incredible arc over this movie. I mean,
Yep.
it's just amazing.
Is your war over yet? Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Is your war over yet,
commentary.
Jacob?
Yeah.
My
No,
war is not over. Yeah.
I have it
my
higher,
God.
so I'll have a lot more to say. But yeah,
Yeah,
this
I
is
assumed
a
you guys
great
would have it
category.
higher.
I'm glad it's in your
I
top
mean, even
5.
putting it low as 4, like that was hard for me, but like I just really
Dang.
like my top 3 as well. So
That's gonna be
it's a good
interesting.
year. Yeah.
No, great year. Colin, then, where's your number 4 coming in here?
Coming in at number 4, Jacob, this is May, December. So this is Todd Haynes' Netflix film. We talked about it
Wow.
before. Mike, you did not get a chance to see this. Now, I'm going to describe it a little differently. Jacob called this a small indie drama. I, of course, am going to say it is a black comedy. This is one of my
Wow.
favorite funny movies of this year.
Wow.
It's so strange. You called it camp earlier, Jacob. It wasn't until you said that where I was like, you know what? This might be the most camp film ever made. This is what the
Yeah.
Met Ballad needed to air before their
Well,
famous
it's
camp year.
yeah, it's intentionally melodramatic. I mean, the music alone signifies like it's the most melodramatic music you've ever heard, and that's on
Yes.
purpose. And it's something Todd Haynes is really doing purposely to get you to be like, look at this in a like sort of a
Yes.
different way, I guess.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a first-time screenwriter. I think she's amazing. There is this stuff coming out now that the real-life subject, the young man who this occurred to, feels very slighted that he was not involved in the making of this film. Just to comment on that real quick, I just want to say, this is such a strange subject matter. The idea that he would feel like he should contribute input to it when he's someone who experienced it in a way that it happened to him, yes, but he was also a participant in what's essentially a horrible crime. I mean, they don't need to get his perspective on it.
Well, I
It's
think he
almost
was
more.
Yeah, he was groomed from a young age, but
Yeah.
maybe it took him a long time to realize that this relationship was more fucked up than he,
Mm-hmm.
thought. I mean, he was married for a long time, but then eventually I think he did be like, yeah, there is obviously a power imbalance within this
Yes.
relationship.
Got
of course.
divorced, but they stayed together the rest of her life until, like you said, she passed away of cancer.
Yeah.
It seems like he still holds some sort of reverence for this as being a good thing. Again, I would just say that what Todd Haynes is doing with this film is almost commenting more on why we are interested in weird true crime stories like this. And that's
Yeah.
certainly what the cipher of Natalie Portman's character is as an actor coming to
Right.
make pretend out of it, right? So
Totally. And
no, that's fascinating.
I've heard about this discourse as well, and I think when you're making a biopic or a movie based on true life, I don't think an artist is under any obligation to consult with the person that it's about, because it's not a documentary. It's not saying this is a true story. It's based on a true story, but you can take artistic license, and I think that's okay. So I don't think you're under any obligation to
No.
have him be a consultant. I mean, if you want to, you can, and I think it's not always a bad thing to do that, but I wouldn't begrudge an artist to do that. So
I think it depends on the message. I think Todd Haynes is very particular, and if you've seen any of his prior work, obviously we love. God, what's that Cincinnati one he does with Kate Blanchett? I always forget.
Carol.
Carol,
Yeah.
thank you. Just an
I'm Not
absolutely
There.
beautiful work.
The
strangest movie ever made.
Yeah,
Sure,
I'm Not There.
sure.
A Bob Dylan biopic where like 10 different people play
Yeah.
different versions of Bob Dylan,
Yeah.
including Kate Blanchett, who is my favorite.
Right.
Love.
Does the best work.
The world
Yeah.
has changed.
He's an interesting filmmaker. This is an interesting
Yeah.
movie. Jacob, it's such a bummer since I said Dave Bautista Best Supporting earlier. but maybe that's because I'd put Charles Melton in lead actor. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see him get rewarded for this as well.
Yeah, it's a shame because I mean it is Robert Downey Jr. is basically a lock to win Best Supporting, and if he didn't, then Ryan Gosling would for Barbie. So really, Charles Melton is like the third most likely, but
Yeah,
just to get nominated is good, I think.
it is interesting to see like Ryan Gosling isn't even trying. Like he kind of understands that comedy, like you almost don't. It's not even worth campaigning, honestly. So
Right.
you know, it's almost like good for him for being self-aware. So I don't know.
Yeah. He's just chilling. Well, I need to make an effort to watch everything that's maybe at least in you guys' top 5 that I didn't see this year. I think that's a cool exercise to just kind of check it out. So that's going to go on the list.
Yeah.
I guess I'll do my 4. It also has really deep theming. Obviously, John Wick Chapter 4. It has to be in the
there it
4th
is.
slot. You know, I'm probably the highest on this movie this year for us. But I just gotta, it's our boy Keanu, man. He's out here wicking it again. That dragon's breath scene again. It's the stunt. It's a stunt reel, and I love that they're doing it practically CG, like minimal, right? It's like they're doing it for real. Steve Atkins doing kicks in that suit, like the whole thing is.
Oh my god!
Yeah, the overhead shot where
Hotline Miami, basically.
Yeah, it's insane. Like I still don't know how they did that. Like with the
and
flames
how
and everything.
Is the staircases? You know. Man,
the
whole
destruction of the set.
Dead silent.
When he just falls down that staircase for a long time, that's very funny.
Yeah, and I've said, well, there was this one time when Common in John Wick 2 where they roll down the stairs, and I saw a GIF that just kept looping it, so it was an infinite staircase, and I think they did that for this one too.
That's great.
But I do want to, I mentioned it's maybe on the podcast, but like it's the closest thing I think I'll get to a Cowboy Bebop finale movie. If you've seen Cowboy Bebop and you know the ending, it's like, okay, this is that. I finally got a Cowboy Bebop live action.
And Keanu was like a popular fan casting for Spike Spiegel for a long time when he was younger.
Yeah, I think maybe even attached at one point.
He sort of aged out of it.
Works forever. Like, it was just tied up. Then we got John Cho.
And sorry, still to this day, none of us hopped on the cock for Continental.
No.
I forgot that was.
It's not gonna take more than
not
the
a
Continental
chance
to get me on the cock. You know?
Isn't Mel Gibson in that?
Oh yeah, it's hard, Jacob. Like it's like they almost don't want you to watch it.
Yeah.
This is another scenario too where it's like they're gonna do the ballerina and like I don't want more John Wick.
So John Wick extended universe.
Extinguish the wick, blow out the candle, we're done.
Blow out the candle, it's done.
You know, now they're saying like, well, you know, John Wick, he could still come back. He might not be dead. Like they're leaving it open-ended for more John Wicks.
They shouldn't do that. 4 is like, you know,
I will say, here's what if they made another one, this is what I would do. Call it John Wick Goes to Hell. And it's him fighting through the depths of hell to rescue someone from hell, and he's literally fighting like demons and shit. Like that's the only way to.
And he meets Constantine.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible.
I like that. Stepping it up another level. You know.
Yeah, and a side note with this movie a connection I had over break. I was watching a very bizarre Japanese like 70s Star Wars ripoff television show called Message from Space: Galactic Wars.
Love it.
The actor is like who plays the lead. I'm like, what the hell? Who is this guy? And it's Hiroyuki Sanada when he's very young, doing space stuff, not even samurai stuff, which is to see him.
That's weird for him.
That's incredible.
He's got like a laser. It's wild. So if you want to see young Sanada, who was great in this, obviously check it out. But
I just saw a trailer for a TV show that I think he's
Shogun on FX.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be really cool. It's a remake of the 70s miniseries. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. I was like, that looks interesting. I like samurai stuff. I'll probably watch that. Yeah.
It's a real who's who of the action scene.
Absolutely.
In John Wick 4. So they did great. That's it for me. So we're up to 3 now.
Nice. Top 3.
Top 3. This is big too.
Well, I'll go. My number 3. We talked about it already. It's Oppenheimer. And I put Oppenheimer and Godzilla Minus One back to back for a reason, because I think they're, very similar films in a way. They're both kind of about the, atomic bomb that America dropped on Japan back in the day, but from
Right.
sort of opposite perspectives of the creator Oppenheimer, and then Godzilla's sort of obviously historically been an analogy for the bomb at times.
If you programmed a theater, Jacob, that would be an awesome double feature. But
Yes.
and I think you've even pointed this out. Another one you watched this year that would slot in perfectly. The Wind Rises.
The Wind
would be
Rises.
so perfect
Absolutely.
with those three movies.
Damn.
Yeah.
The Wind Rises and Oppenheimer are basically the same movie, which is interesting. But yeah, Oppenheimer, I loved it, and I loved just learning more about this guy Oppenheimer and how he was sort of tied up in like this whole like politics stuff with communism, where he was his
Right.
mistress Florence Pugh was this like communist lady, and then
Probably murdered by the CIA.
yeah, possibly, probably. And I just love the whole second half of this movie where it's all just him getting yelled at by like Jason Clarke and like questioned by all these government people about his communist connections, and like it's very HUAC type stuff. And it maybe not the most interesting thing to everybody, but I just thought it was really I like courtroom type drama stuff, so that really worked for me, and I thought that was really interesting.
I like there's kind of like just the in between of like we're theorists. Like I'm doing the science. I don't know what the government's gonna fucking do with it, and I'm terrified of the work we're doing, but I kind of have to. Like it's an interesting.
Well, of course,
like,
yeah, he was
character study.
originally building the bomb to drop on Germany, but they ended up surrendering before it was finished, so they used it on Japan instead. And
Like
so,
that's on his input, like
yeah, and that's
doesn't
like
make
his
that
big
call.
line, like in the trailer and stuff, where he's like, "And I know what happens if the Nazis have a bomb." Right.
Yep.
So they're trying to race against the Nazis. But yeah, The Wind Rises, very similar film about it's a biopic basically about the inventor of the Japanese Zero plane, which is the planes that the kamikaze pilots used.
Right.
And he just wanted to make beautiful aircraft. So,
Jacob, what genius have you been having conversations with in your dreams? Einstein or an Italian plane maker?
Probably an Italian plane maker. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Cillian Murphy, I loved him in this role, and I think he definitely deserves an Oscar. So, Peaky Blinders, love you.
Yeah, Peaky Blinders, mate. Yeah, killing it, Murphy. Killed it again.
Killing it, Murphy. Shout out to the Irish. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Scarecrow, Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, and
That's
Scarecrow.
Longtime
Love
Nolan contributor. He's been in like 7 Nolan movies. Like, yeah.
Nice.
Even more than, Christian Bale.
Of course, the
anyone
guy
else.
who gets incepted in Inception.
Yeah.
Inception, Batman movies,
Three
Dunkirk.
Scarecrows. He's the coward in Dunkirk, of course.
Yeah.
Wow,
Shout it out.
World War II's. Look at us.
Yeah.
He does
That's
believe
right.
in Nolan scenarios.
Nice.
Colin.
That's my number 3. Colin.
Mike.
Yeah.
Here's my number 3. We'll talk about another Japanese master. It's The Boy and the Heron. So we just said all that stuff about Miyazaki.
Yeah.
Let's finish it up. Mike, you have to see this.
Yes.
Like Jacob said, it's incredibly challenging. I left the theater. My brother and I saw it together. Fucking sucked. We saw it at my hometown, what used to be a rave, which is now, I believe, an AMC. Dead spot on the screen.
Oh, no.
I saw it dubbed, Jacob, but of course there are subtitles, like when you see the titular book, How Do You Live? Obviously it's in kanji, so they have to bring up subtitle language.
Dubs, not subs.
The film was letterboxed in a way where it cut off the bottom of the screen, so you could not read the subtitles fully. And it is a remarkably silent film, very quiet, very contemplative again. I believe the theater next to us was Wonka, so we did hear most of that music and silly songs bleeding through the walls as well. And all that to say, like Mike, when I complained about my Mutants Mayhem screening, where I saw that in a hillbilly hellhole in Tennessee, where you could, I believe it was in the dark. I believe there wasn't even a light bulb in the projector.
Right.
Sometimes a movie just transcends the circumstances you see it in. Like this is an incredibly obtuse movie that plays out heavy themes that are literally about a guy saying, "Look at what I've created, my son. Goro Miyazaki, don't you want to take over my legacy? And him
I wish you
saying,
could draw
no, I'm
better.
fucked up and I'm
Yeah.
a loser and I'll never be able to. And it's very hard and heady stuff.
Wow.
And I love it. I love it because of that. So it's
Well,
now my
Colin-
third favorite, Jacob. It's
Wow.
very high up there for me. Yeah.
Third favorite Miyazaki film?
Miyazaki, yes. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, where does it place in your ranking? I've been watching all these or rewatching Miyazaki films, and I don't know if I would put it that highly up, just because maybe I need to watch it again. I just there's a lot of like metaphorical or thematic stuff that I maybe didn't fully understand. That maybe I'm just, but I was kind of going with the movie, going with the flow of it.
Yeah.
What you were saying about your theater experience is interesting. I watched this again 2 nights ago, Saturday night, 10:30 showing, almost empty theater. And it's been in theaters for a while at this point, so not a lot of people are going to see it at this point. But I'm like, let me get in this screening because I wanted to get in before this episode, and maybe I'll have the whole theater to myself. I showed up. There was like, basically, it was me and like 3 other people. There was like a solo person and then a couple. And somehow I had a bad experience with this because even though it was almost empty theater, this couple behind me, they were talking a little bit quietly to themselves, kind of, which I didn't mind so much. But the concessions, right? The snacks, the crinkling. Why are you crinkling so much this whole movie? Like, can you eat your snacks more quietly? And like you said, it's a very quiet movie. So I just heard this crinkling constantly, and I was just like, can you just eat more quietly, for God's sake? But
you're going to talk about a film about what horrible things America has done to the Native American people at a certain point, Jacob. And the reports I have heard of people snacking during that movie, part of me is like, I understand it when you go to like fucking, it's Mean Girls the musical. It's like, act out, like do whatever you want. Like we're all having a good time. But like if you're watching like some heavy stuff, I understand it must be compulsive to just be like,
well, nobody knows how to be in public. This is my couch, correct?
Yes.
Right. 2 years inside.
Post COVID, especially, Mike. People now are like, this is my living room.
Yeah. And because it was a very quiet movie, like you said, and an almost empty theater, it just sort of amplified that sound to me. But it's like, man, I saw this movie with like 2 other people, and somehow
they ruined it.
You can't even shut up. Yeah,
right.
I might have a similar story later in the listing too. Theaters, what a thing.
Oh boy.
I love going to the theater to see movies. I just hate when audiences make it hard for me to enjoy.
That's why I like the Alamo, because generally people give a shit about the experience and the craft, even if it's Transformers. They're
talk about eating though. Alamo, they're eating there.
I like Alamo, but then you have the waiters come up and they're like,
they do the crab walk
stuff, and
yeah. Fair enough. But
I do like ordering food there sometimes, so I can't complain too much.
It's good. That's the issue, is that they actually have a fucking good menu at the Alamo.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
And they kick you out if you're on your cell phone or talking. It's great.
Right.
So remember it, everybody.
That's 3 for me, Mike.
Yeah, my number 3. I saw this at the Alamo too. That is Spider-Man: Across the Spider-Verse. My number 3, third favorite movie was the old Spider-Man. So
wow,
it has a lot of heart. I'm gonna do my own thing. We love Oscar Isaac. Anytime he's doing something. So we got
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's still on my list and hasn't come up yet. So that should tell you something.
Wow.
Love it.
Colin, this was on your list lower, right?
Yes. Yeah. This was my number 5.
So if it's still up there floating on Jacob's, we'll pause. But yeah, it's fun.
Well, yeah, we're going to my number 2, and I'll tell you right now, it's the Amazing Spider-Man.
Holy crap!
Oh yeah! Hell yeah! So there you go, Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
This was number 1 for a long time until I saw my number 1 only a couple nights ago. So I was like, yeah, I love this movie. I know what Colin's going to say is the weakness of it, or the flaw is that, and I'll tell you right now, it's not a complete movie, right? It ends on a cliffhanger.
Right.
It kind of maybe feels like it didn't have a full arc for a movie, which I understand that criticism.
Right.
Real quick, did either of you guys watch Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon Child of Fire Part 1?
Didn't get to that one yet. Well, I've heard pretty much unanimously bad reviews of it. So
I'll say right now, it's the worst movie I saw this year. But it falls into the weaknesses of a split in half dumbass movie, Jacob. But I think the two on our list this year, Mike putting Mission Impossible, us putting Across the Spider-Verse, I want to argue those films circumvent it, and here's the trick they pull. They are complete movies for a character. They choose to go with Grace for Mission Impossible, and they choose to go with Gwen Stacy for Across the Spider-Verse. And I think they wrap up their stories in a cool, complete arc that makes me think those films work despite being part ones. And that's my argument.
Okay.
You at least have
I'll
one
say,
character finish their arc. Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah. I love the, aesthetics of this movie. Obviously, the different kinds of animation and stuff within this movie is just insane. I've heard some sort of behind the scenes stuff about the making of it that kind of made me question certain things about like the way it was made, the way, animators had to work sort of overtime to do it. Heard some things about Lord and Miller, maybe that they're not the best delegators of work and that kind of thing. So that kind of sucks, but I did love the movie. So I don't know.
You're right. The result, I mean, crunch or whatever. I don't know the working condition things, but like it sucks to exist anywhere. Pay your people who work for it, don't overwork.
Well, it just seems like they would change things sort of a lot on a whim, or like have unrealistic expectations of how fast certain things could get done, and they were working against a deadline. And then
when we went to the premiere, they said 2 days ago they locked the picture.
Yeah.
So,
which is insane. So
that's
and I know the part two or the conclusion of this trilogy is also like being delayed, or it's going to take a long time to make. So yeah.
So we'll have to wait for that. And Dune was another one that I think sort of doesn't have a character arc end, but so I
doing a little more of the Zack Snyder.
The only
which another thing that he probably ripped off of. Yeah.
Well, the thing I'll say about Dune is that to defend it,
Rebel movie.
the only way that it could have been made is to split it in 2 movies, unless you want a 4-hour movie. So it kind of had to be done. And maybe you can say, well, did Villeneuve pick the right ending point for the movie? Maybe not, but I think it'll make sense. It'll make more sense why it was split there when you see part 2, I think.
Right. Okay. Like the ones we have on our list are more satisfying in a vacuum than Dune, but I think Dune as a whole will probably surpass or has.
I will say, Dune Part 2 was supposed to come out this year, got delayed till this spring. So some of these other movies are probably lucky, because that probably would have been pretty high on my list.
I think I got the trailer when I went to Wonka, though. It looked really fucking good.
Well,
I've
seen the trailer a few times now.
overlap.
Yeah, it looks sick. I'm very excited about it. Yeah.
Cool. Hell yeah. All right. Well, geez, number 2, Colin.
Well, so now let's talk about that. So we just said Dune, this film made for like very cheap, and considering what the special effects budget was, where people are like, the Marvels cost $200 million. Can somebody explain how that occurred? Right. Now, my number 2 here, and Mike, I juggled with this. This was number 1 for a second there.
Wow.
Is a film that does exactly that. Godzilla Minus One.
Yes.
Now, we're going to talk about this a little bit, because maybe this is a little higher for you, Mike.
Maybe it's going to come up.
Might. But just to say, we said the human elements, so I'll harp on those special effects real quick.
Yeah.
Godzilla looks incredible. The stuff they do in the water looks incredible. Mike, you were texting us like, I don't understand this, but when the credits roll, it says writer, director, special effects by, and you're like, no, that doesn't make sense. And then you look it up, and the guy is like that incredible and remarkable on it.
Right.
I guess he did the Parasite, which is a really popular manga. He did the live action Parasite films, which is a really cool it's like The Thing happens to a kid.
Sure.
So that's like a cool special effect. He must just be incredible. I mean, it's,
and the budget
I
on this movie was like $15 million.
Yes.
Insane.
But we talked about Spider-Man, no unions in Japan, so 15 million can stretch a little bit, but still, you look at Ant-Man for 200
And the Japanese work culture too is like, if you leave before your boss leaves at midnight or whatever, it's kind of looked down
strict.
on, right?
But I think, regardless, that number is just crazy to consider. Like, that you can get what we saw on screen. So
It is. The last note on it, we talked about you told us, I don't know if we said this on podcast, but you told us off why it's called Godzilla Minus One.
Yes.
I saw this film with my entire family. I went with step siblings, my brother, wives. I went with my father, parents. Crowd pleaser across the board. Everybody walks out and it's like, whoa, that ruled. What does the title mean? And I got to share and say, so I'll say to our listeners too,
What
Mike,
does it
you
mean?
told us that
I don't think I heard this.
World War II puts us at 0, Japan. Godzilla brings us down to -1. Like, he sinks us
Oh.
even lower. You're like, oh my God.
That's
Now,
what it means?
Jacob, here's what I love. If you guys don't know this, the original Gojira film, a black and white movie, because of course it was made at the time where there was no color stock
54,
film.
1950s, yeah.
It's being re-released, Godzilla Minus One, in black and white next year. It's going to be called Godzilla Minus Color. Pretty good title.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
Pretty
That's
good
great.
title. So I think that's really cool.
That's great.
And by the way, this movie uses the Godzilla theme
Yes. Yeah.
in the soundtrack, which I
Mhm.
don't think, at least the American ones that I've seen, don't really do that. Or maybe they do and I just forgot. But when that theme song kicks in, I am like, let's fucking go.
Bro,
Like,
yeah.
I am so hyped. Like, incredible.
Yeah, and it might be higher up, so we can mention a little bit more stuff
That's
later,
all.
but I'm
That's-
glad I'm glad you wrestled
it's
I
the
with
was
best.
that.
I was talking to my brother about that movie in the holidays, and he asked, he's like, why is it called Godzilla Minus One? I didn't know at the time, but now I know.
Now you know. It's fascinating. Well, if I go to my number one and -1 from that becomes a 2, second spot, right? So my number 2 is Barbie. I really
Wow.
liked Barbie personally. I think it was way better than it had any right to be. It's got a lot of heart, a lot of Kenergy. I can now have a Mojo Dojo Casa house. It's great. It's absolutely great, and we love Alan because he's an ally.
That's right.
Yeah,
I
so
think Barbie for me
number 2.
was my number 19. I will say, I don't want to be too harsh on it, but
No.
I liked it a lot when I was watching it. The more I sort of thought about it after seeing it, I liked it less and less. Not to say it's bad at all. It's still number 19 on my list, but it definitely kind of fell over time for me in my.
Well,
That's
I really felt the same way, Jacob. It kind of was not for me, but I'll say I think your Letterboxd review put it the best for me, where you said, "Yeah, is it a little surface level feminism stuff? Sure, but for blockbusters like this, I think that's okay," and I would agree with you on that.
Right. Well, it's kind of like the James Cameron Avatar argument of like, is the theming kind of like obvious and like anyone could kind of understand it? I always think things are too unsubtle, but then I realize like the average person, how much stuff kind of flies
dumb.
over people's heads.
So dumb.
I think
You,
it kind of
would
needs to be
shocked.
unsubtle. Yeah.
right.
So I think Barbie has the same argument of like, it needs to spell out what it's saying because people will not understand it unless it does.
That's fair enough. I could see that. I just also think everything exaggerated kind of plays into the style, like the set design, like in Barbie Land, and like there's a lot of craft.
It's incredible.
For them to get away with making Mattel headquarters the villain, like in a Hollywood production, like well done, Margot Robbie, to even pull this thing off, even if it is a little bit,
And Greta Gerwig,
yeah,
a director that I'm a huge fan of, and this is
$1
her
billion,
third
baby.
feature film that she's directed, and it's going to be almost certainly nominated for an Oscar for Best Picture, and all 3 of her films have been nominated for Best Picture. And so I don't know how many directors out there, their first 3 films were all nominated for Best Picture. That's pretty good.
she doesn't.
Did
miss.
you, Jacob? Did you see her husband's movie this year, White Noise? No,
No, I
White
haven't
Noise.
seen that. I haven't seen that yet.
That's on my maybe the worst of.
Oh, no.
list. I mean, that's.
I like.
But he
a lot of his
wrote
movies,
Barbie
but-
with her, so
Yeah.
very strange.
Yeah.
Yep, but that's it for Barbie.
Wow.
Number 2, but I guess.
Oh, Mike, real quick, just to agree with you, because this is not on my list,
Yeah.
but to shout out Margot Robbie's press tour, junket tour for campaigning for awards this season. She has worn every gown is a real life Barbie dress that a designer has modeled from the toy into an actual outfit that she wears, and then she goes out to these festivals and these carpets. Incredible.
No,
I
that's
will say the
awesome.
marketing for that movie was insane. Like it was everywhere
was.
for a while, the way they were
Was.
marketing it.
Mhm.
And they got really lucky with the strike timing because it was literally right before the strike happened. So they got it in
Yes.
just under the wire. And they were
Yep.
also able to film stuff ahead of time. And then all you have to do is put a disclaimer saying this was filmed ahead of time, and then you can air it during the strike. So they
Oh,
got
yeah.
lucky on the marketing. Some other movies that came out a little bit later in the summer got shafted, basically.
killed.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yep.
But very good, enjoyable movie to me. Yes.
Ingenious.
And it's all
Yes.
subjective. So I just enjoyed it a lot this year. And Ryan
Absolutely.
Gosling, I'm a big fan. Blade Runner 2049.
But you have that
kind of
higher
thing.
than Godzilla. Oh, you haven't said Godzilla.
Haha, that's right.
Interesting.
But now that we're climbing, Jacob, the big moment.
The big
Your
moment.
movie of the
Here
year.
we go. Well, this is interesting.
Yeah.
My number one is a movie that hasn't been on either of you guys' list yet. I don't think you've seen it probably.
Hmm.
For
And
me,
the top best picture goes to
as soon as it was announced, as soon as I saw a trailer, I was like, I'm so in. I can't wait to see this. I love the director. Of course, he is the master for a reason. I'm talking Martin Scorsese, Killers of the Flower Moon.
There we are.
Mhm. Have
Martin
not seen it,
Scorsese, I mean, what
but
can I say? I
like
love
to.
him so much. Anytime a new Scorsese movie comes out, I'm going to be there. So, and I wasn't able to see this for a long time until the other night when I rented it. So on Amazon Prime. So I missed it in theaters, but what can I say about this movie? It's an American masterpiece. I think it's one of the great American films of all time. It's about the history of this country, the bloody, violent history. It's about men obsessed with money over everything, greed, right? The biggest sin of them all, possibly. And it's a true story. And it's about the murder of these Osage Indians, these Osage Native Americans who they had oil on their land, so they got lucky in that when the oil boom happened, they got very, very rich. And
the bit of land they were granted, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
They basically had really shitty land until they discovered oil, and they became rich. And of course, then the white people are like, wait a minute, they can't have all that money. That's our money. We're white people. So then they came in and, of course, infected everything. And that's basically what the movie is about. And, it's like a lot of Scorsese's movies are about sort of the evils of greed and how it kind of just infects everything. And Leonardo DiCaprio plays a man who is so stupid that he basically sells his family to the slaughterhouse essentially for the promise of money. So but incredible movie. Leo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, Scorsese's two muses in the different phases of his career. First movie with them both together. So
wow,
very interesting there. And then Lily Gladstone, the standout, like in May, December, the third lesser known actor of the trifecta is the standout of the movie. She's incredible. What can I say? Like, she's going to win an Oscar.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So
Mike, did you see? I did not see this. Did you catch this?
No, I didn't, but I'm severely interested in it because I do like Scorsese too. And like, just to prep for this episode, I was pulling up a couple scenes to like get some dialogue to put in an open. And
sure.
Just one scene when him and De Niro are arguing about like, did you do the thing right? It's like, I told him. And it's like, this acting is insane. Like, it looks like it's shot incredibly. Like it's an important kind of story.
Is killing it too. I mean, he's always great, but like, he's super old now, but he's still got it, and he's still he's playing maybe the most evil man I've ever seen in this movie. So incredible
Just in
stuff.
one 30-second clip, I'm like, oh, I don't like this guy. Yeah.
Now, Jacob, he's working with his two muses here. He's working with Leo.
Right.
He's working with De Niro. There's another guy we did a podcast on this year. He had a little birthday. We decided to talk about one of his films where he looked the sexiest he's ever been, called The Mummy. Now, Brendan Fraser is in this movie. How is Brendan Fraser in this film?
Well, it's interesting. He's not in it that much. He's basically shows up at the very end and is in like a couple scenes. He plays a lawyer. but you know, he's good.
He's like whale sized. He's like big.
He's pretty big.
Yeah.
But you know, it fits the character, I guess, and he's doing kind of a voice. I don't know. It's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm here
All right.
for it.
Well, our
Yeah.
hero working with his hero, so you gotta
But-
love that.
This is a 3.5-hour movie.
I was
He
gonna
shows
ask.
up at maybe the 3-hour mark. So,
Okay.
but yeah, it's a very long movie. Like his last movie, The Irishman, also like 3.5 hours. I think he's discovered later in life that he can make movies as long as he wants now because he's Martin Scorsese and no one will tell him no.
Here's my opinion on that. Boo, cut it out. Now, if you guys remember, last year I made my pact that The Way of Water would be my last 3-hour film. That is why I have not watched this movie yet.
Wow.
Is Oppenheimer 3? It's like 240 or something like that, right? It's
Yeah.
close.
It's got to be close.
Even that
yeah.
was pushing it. Yeah.
This movie, I mean, my take has always been, I think I've said it before, like long movies, if they justify their length, I'm okay with them. If they don't justify their length, I'm not okay with them. So I like long movies that are good, basically. And I think this movie does justify its length because of the epicness. And I think The Irishman, you can make more of a case that maybe it didn't need to be as long as it was. This movie, I feel like it really earns it, and there's a lot of story to tell. You could maybe trim like 15 minutes, but it would still be like 3+ hours.
Mhm.
Now, that's going to Apple, right, Jacob, you said?
Yeah, so I spent $20 to rent this movie on Amazon Prime because I wanted to see it before this episode and I missed it in theaters. It's coming to Apple, is that what you said? Apple TV, Apple Plus, like next week or something. So I could have just waited
Sure.
and saw it, or I don't have an Apple Plus account, but I could have spent like $8 instead. But I actually bought it for $25.
Oh, wow.
I could
Hey, at least
either
you always got it. You like
Yeah.
Scorsese. Now,
I could either have rented it for 20 or bought it for 25. So I'm like, if I'm going to spend that much money, I might as well buy it.
The reason I bring that streamer up isn't also, did any of us see Napoleon? Isn't that also an Apple epic?
Yeah, that's an Apple. That's in theaters now. I didn't get the chance to see that. That's Ridley Scott.
Didn't Ridley Scott say he's going to release a 4-hour cut of that movie on Apple?
Probably.
When you say you like long movies, Jacob, that justify their runtime, I do too.
Yeah.
They're called miniseries. They're great. You would
Sure,
love
but-
them, audiences.
I think, and yeah, this could have been a mini series, but that's sort of a different medium, and that gets different.
Sure.
You know, it's a
Right.
whole different thing.
It's
Like that wouldn't be
structured
released in
differently, too.
theater. Yeah, that wouldn't be nominated for Oscars. So it's just different, I guess.
Hey,
This movie,
got to get them.
Yeah, I don't think Scorsese cares, but I think
No.
his later career for me is he's doing some of his best work in his late career. And I think his last 4 movies, you had Killers of the Flower Moon, The Irishman, Silence, which is a really good movie about Christian missionaries in Japan
Mhm.
in the 1700s, and then Wolf of Wall Street. That's as good of a 4-movie run, I think, as
Damn.
he's had in his whole career.
He's
So,
gotten really experimental. That is a really cool 4. Yeah.
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 And I
Oh,
think
really
he's
distinct.
he's reaching the end of his life. Sadly, he's not a young man, and he's looking back and he's saying, you know, what have I contributed to the culture in terms of like violence in movies and that kind of thing, and looking back at American history. So it's kind of about American history. It's kind of about his career. It's all tied together, and like he's reckoning with what his whole life has kind of been about in a very
He
interesting way.
wants you to leave the door open a crack for him. He doesn't like when it's shut all the way.
That's right. And the ending of this movie is just devastating and has one of the strangest, most interesting director cameos I've ever seen, to spoil it a little bit. So,
Of him?
Yeah.
Self?
Wow.
Oh, interesting.
He's the last person to say a line in this movie, and the way he explains it.
They were
in
truly
interviews is very
the killers
interesting.
of the flower moon. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Well, it's partially about how true crime has become this whole entertainment media
Oh.
business, right?
Mhm.
It's a true crime story, right? And it
Right.
ends, to spoil it a little bit, it ends with a radio drama in the 50s that's telling the story from
Wow.
30 years prior in the
Oh,
50s time.
wow.
And he said in interviews basically like, I came to realize that like we're making entertainment, and I'm making entertainment out of this true life story. So I felt like I had to be the last person to, you know, to admit this at the end of this movie. And
Right.
and it's I'm not even quoting him that well, but
One of those rare
yeah.
times where spoilers make me more interested. That's really cool, Jacob. I did not know
it's a
that.
really cool ending. Yeah.
Huh.
No, and we did have a conversation about like doing adaptations of real life stuff and where's the responsibility and this kind of thing. And so it's cool that he's like kind of like, hey, mea culpa, let me end it.
Yeah, he really feels a responsibility to tell the story in a way that sort of honors the real people involved. And of course, he's an old white guy, so he has his own perspective. And I think one criticism you could say is, well, why does it you know, take place from the point of view of Leo's character and not Lily Gladstone's character, who the story is really about, but you're seeing it from the eyes of this white guy who's an outsider in this community.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's interesting, but I think Scorsese, he wouldn't really have the sort of authority to make it from Lily Gladstone's point of view. That should be, you know, another director could make that movie, but that's not his.
Somebody in
movie
the
to make.
Osage Nation, or
Yeah.
absolutely.
So that's what I would say to that. But I think they did a really extensive job of trying to make it very accurate and bringing in, you know, consultants, Native American consultants and stuff to make sure it was like very culturally accurate and respectful and all that. So
Wow,
really great movie. Strongly recommend. You know, great stuff.
No, I need
Love
to see it. I
Scorsese.
can set aside 3 hours because if I can binge, you know, 500 episodes of One Piece, I can watch 3 hours of this. And yeah,
you can
I'm
watch
all
it as a
for-
miniseries. Just watch it
That's
like
true.
an hour at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, in different settings.
on my phone, on the toilet, how it was meant to be
How
watched.
Scorsese
You're right.
That's right.
wanted it. Yep.
Yeah.
I'll watch
So that's my
VR
number
headset.
one.
It'll be very big. A justified number one, though. I think there's a lot of buzz around this film, and I'm stoked to see it for sure.
Yeah, I think in a different
Incredibly
year, it could have won Best Picture. Unfortunately, Oppenheimer is going to win, but
Right.
Killers of the Flower Moon, I think, a better movie because I have it higher on my list. But yeah,
Yeah.
But no goodbye Oscar for Daddy. We don't get to send him
I think
off.
he won with The Departed in 2008. That was kind of his career achievement Oscar.
Right.
And he gets nominated for a lot of his movies, been nominated, but he rarely wins. It's just bad timing a lot of times with other movies coming out in different narratives and stuff.
I mean, you're such a Hugo stan.
Yeah. Love Hugo.
We all do. And look, I'm going to do my number one now. It makes me feel ridiculous coming off of that incredibly important, touching film.
No, it's all subjective.
Described.
Yeah.
It's all subjective. This is my number one. It's a blockbuster. Am I a populist? Yes, because I think you need to be entertained. And this, to me, was the most entertaining movie. It's Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, guys.
Wow.
I talked about it before. It's on all our lists. I love that. I'm so happy we all had it so high. I want to say this. I think this is an interesting thing to think about. And I think Jacob will in particular love this little joke. This film, like another film released this year, has a problematic Bradley Cooper moment where instead of doing Jew face, he's pretending to be a little person.
Is that problematic?
Now, I would say this is the better performance from him. I would say he's very funny as the halfling in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's maybe the best performance he gave this year. I did not like that Maestro film.
I noticed that wasn't on your list.
No, it was not. I've got it very low on Letterboxd. And this movie made me care about Michelle Rodriguez, like their relationship. Like Fast X came out this year, and I have totally reevaluated Michelle Rodriguez as an actress because of Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. That is an incredible screenplay that writes to the strengths of an incredible cast, and I think that's what that movie is. So
I love that her and Chris Pine just have like a totally platonic relationship. They're just like best friends, and you rarely see that between two straight, you know, a man and woman who are the leads of the movie being totally platonic like that. So,
Let alone having one of them be a bard in D&D.
Yes,
because they will sleep
and
with
the other
everyone.
a barbarian, right?
And you know what else I like? So easily that story could be the father-daughter narrative that has consumed all of our media, where it could be an adventure of them watching that girl the whole time. Instead, she is a big part of it, but that's not what the drama is or the scope of the screenplay. And I think that's
Right.
impressive writing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I agree. It's really, really great. It's fun, but it's like, it has heart. Like it's a good script, and it deserves, I think, more credit. And so if people haven't
Yeah.
seen it, watch it. It's a ton
Absolutely.
I
of fun.
have it as 5 stars, Mike. Maybe the one thing that could give it a half star is sometimes when I think out loud of, yes, the Red Wizards of Thane who were trying to raise Borgo McJarber for
That's
or
D&D
whatever
for you.
that
That's
was.
D&D. There's a lot of lore.
It's like, hmm.
I will say that
And I
Bradley
remember
Cooper
that they say
scene-
Baldur's Gate, Jacob, and I get very excited.
That's
Uh-huh.
right.
The
The Sword
Jarnathan,
Coast.
I mean, I think the Jarnathan scene is the best scene
Incredible.
in history. And Jacob, when they end it with, we were going to release you anyways, like it's
Yep.
so fucking funny and original. So,
Yeah.
And
there,
it is
that's
exactly how playing with your friends is.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
you do.
Well, I
speak
love
shit,
that
Yeah.
even the
great.
name Jarnathan just
It's
sounds like a name a DM would think up. I need like a weird sounding name. Jarnathan, sure.
Because players they'll be like, oh, what's the name of the shopkeeper? And you're like, fucking stop asking what their names are. It's
Jarnathan.
not important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I
Um,
love that pick.
I will
I
say
saw my
just the
popcorn
Bradley
thing.
Cooper scene, learning that they were not together in the same room when they shot that kind of lesson for me. It's still a very funny scene, but Bradley Cooper shot his scenes individually from
Yeah.
Michelle Rodriguez. But that's
Yeah.
Hollywood magic for you.
And
That's
boy, it
scheduling.
is.
Yep.
Yeah.
The magic
Too
of
busy
Dungeons
making
and Dragons.
Maestro.
He was too busy pretending to conduct. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. God.
Yeah.
Oh,
he
that
was
movie.
short on time, I guess.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Hey,
All right, Mike.
I guess it's time. We already know what it is.
I think I know what it's going to be.
Yeah. So my number one.
Rising
movie
up from the ocean.
Bum, bum, bum. Yeah.
Oh,
Godzilla Minus One. My favorite movie of the
it's
year.
Mike's number 1 pick.
It's the only movie I saw twice in theaters, and I'm going to see it a third time minus color. I went
Wow.
twice.
Wow.
I like
Wow.
that much. Yeah.
I do like the
Um,
minus color. That's like the
Black and chrome.
black. Oh yeah, or the
Yes.
Snyder
Yeah.
cut black. There's like a black and white.
Justice
Snyder
is
cut.
gray. That's what
Justice
that
is Gray,
was
that's what I was
called. Oh
thinking.
my
Man.
god.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder. But yeah, we've kind of talked about this. Well, first of all, I had people behind me talking the whole time too. Like there were a
man.
couple. There weren't many people when I went, but they were talking. But even so, I just liked it so much that I went back, and it was a little bit better experience the second time. But we've kind of said this kind of meditation of like the post-war and the bomb, and the fact that it's being critical of like the government and like the imperial like army, and
Yeah.
the theme is at the end of the day, after the bombs dropped and everybody was -1 in the country, it was like regular people who had to come together and fucking fix it. It's like industry, like electricians
Yeah,
and
the
people who fucking
bureaucracy of government and
them.
all that stuff. Yeah.
and Shin Godzilla is about how the bureaucracy like doesn't react quick enough, and that's why like they're so slow. So this is like
Yes.
critical of all that, while kind of raising up like the regular people who suffered when we're bombing civilian populations, and we shouldn't have been doing that.
Right.
Sorry, Mike, you did
Yeah.
just remind me. I did sit next to a father and a very little son who talked during this movie as well. But
Mhm.
I will say it was awesome because they only spoke during one scene where the scientist explains that by submerging Godzilla, the pressure of the ocean will kill him. And the dad
Yeah.
leaned over to the kid and said, okay, so here's what's going on. What they're going to do is they're going to use these balloons. And he
Oh,
because he
sure.
clearly
Yep.
understood that his kid was not going to get this. And it was helpful to me overhearing him.
Yep.
So it was like a pro talking moment.
No, absolutely. So I think it's a great, like also that plot to kill him is cool. Like
It's
we'll
so
crush the
original,
ocean,
so interesting. Yes.
and then it will
Thinking outside the
we'll raise
box.
him back up to recompress him.
We'll
That doesn't
kill him
work?
with recompression. Will he'll just crumble inside. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah,
I will
there's
say
a word
my-
for that. Yeah.
My one critique of the movie is, and I wonder what you guys think of this. The final, without too much spoiling, I'll say the final shot of the movie. I don't love the.
Oh,
And maybe that's contractual that like Toho, like you always have to leave it open ended that
Oh
Godzilla
yeah.
will return essentially.
now,
But
so
yeah.
here's what I'm going to say about this. It will be a little vague. There's an ending shot that's a thing where literally when we left, everyone I saw it with was like, "What was that thing?" And I was like, "It was just a radiation." Like, what are you talking about? If you go
Yeah.
on Wikipedia, No, Jacob, you're right. It's pretty obvious that they're like, that's a thing we are setting up. Where I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I did not get that at all. Huh.
No, that was the second time I went, I kind of paid more attention to that, and then there's another like thing right after that, and it's like I don't like any of this. So
Yeah.
but it's just the tiniest moment in what is otherwise like I think perfect monster movie. There's a lot of nods to Spielberg and like Jaws.
Yeah.
I just really like it. The human story.
I need a
and
bigger
it's-
boat.
Yeah, yeah. His
Toho
job to
made a
clean up
deal,
lines.
Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great job. Toho, the creators of Godzilla, made a deal, I think for 5, maybe 10 years, where they transitioned the rights over to America. That's why we got the Garth Edwards and the whole MonsterVerse franchise. The
Right.
second that was up, they had this director working for 2 years in pre-production and said, the deal's over, go now. And he immediately shot this movie and released it as fast as they can. Now we have these two divergent things. So,
Yes.
Mike, as a
Yes.
Godzilla fan, how are you feeling having these two different options here of like your art house Godzilla and your fucking blockbuster Godzilla?
Well, it's interesting to have both, but man, does this make the legendary ones look like dog shit. Like even just like visuals, like oh my god, like it's.
Well, you don't love
and-
Millie Bobby Brown in.
I cut her out of the plot of that film on purpose. I did a fan
Yeah.
edit to remove her entire.
That's
arc.
right. That's right. You did.
I
So
thought-
like
I
this
think I
better 'cause
read
would cut
about-
nothing.
I think I read that the contract with Toho is that like Legendary can't release a Godzilla movie in the same year that a Toho Godzilla movie comes out. So basically, this year is this, but then next year
year.
is going to be that the monkey best friend.
Kong
movie.
X Godzilla Skull
Yeah.
Crushers. Yeah, we're all
Which-
excited.
In fanfic, you don't use X like that unintentionally. So.
Well,
think you
yeah,
totally-
they date by the end of the
they're gonna
movie.
fall in love now. Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Also, one thing I wanted to ask you, Mike,
Yeah.
you saw Shin Godzilla as well,
Yep.
but you like this one better.
This is much better. Because Shin Godzilla, the point is it's a lot of boring government talk and then Godzilla fucking people up because the government can't do anything. They, on the ground, suffering of regular people as a result of war and trying to overcome that trauma. And like that,
Yeah.
we have also an unusual family unit that develops in this film.
Yeah,
similar to
right,
Dungeons and
very much
Dragons.
so.
I loved all of it,
Um,
just dealing with like PTSD and guilt and,
Yeah.
and all that.
Did you by any chance see Hideki Anno, who made Shin Godzilla and made Neon Genesis Evangelion, of course?
Right.
He's been making these like Shin remakes of classic.
Shin Kamen Rider, yeah.
Yeah, so this year he made Shin
Yeah.
Kamen Rider. I wanted to know
Huh.
if you saw that at all.
I have not seen that. Which
It's on
but I'm
Prime
intrigued
right now. Every time Reacher ends, it's like, do you want to watch Shin Kamen Rider? I'm like, I don't think
You
so.
want to do Shin
Yeah.
Gamera coming
It's
up?
a Japanese sort of take on the superhero genre, kind of.
Yeah,
so
he's like a
I'm
motorcycle
Yeah.
guy.
to see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
might check
haven't
it out
seen
at some
that.
point.
Yeah, but I want to see this in black and white. It's like the best Godzilla movie ever.
Yeah,
It doesn't need a
I think it's a
sequel.
great #1 pick, and I knew that was going to be your pick, basically.
Right, and not to go
Um,
crazy political, but it's like even just like the firebombing of Tokyo is like one of like the largest civilian like fucking things, loss of life. America would
Oh,
just
yeah.
fuck it. We'll just hit the civilians, and that's really shitty. Don't be war
Yeah.
criming, and then 2 nukes. So just the weight, and then just showing how regular people got fucked because of choices the army made, and
Well, it's a
like-
good thing that there's no situations currently going on where civilians are being killed, and
Yeah. So
Uh,
again, it's a poignant message, right? And
yeah,
It's like
absolutely.
everybody suffers in this type of stuff.
Christopher
one last-
Nolan's a coward. He can't show the atomic bomb going off. Godzilla can.
Yeah, and he is a bomb. In the Ginza sequence, if you see this movie, holy crap. It's
Yeah,
heartbreaking. Also, one more metaphor. He goes to a small island in the very opening of the movie, and then a small Godzilla attacks, right? And as a result, Japan is about to get fucked by big Godzilla later. That's like going to Pearl Harbor and waking up the monster, and then so it's a whole thing.
Yeah,
The
that's true.
Kamikaze pilot. It's a whole thing they're doing, and it's very clever.
You're
again, like
absolutely right.
Yeah.
Japan's hubris of being like, we can take on America. Let's fucking, attack Pearl Harbor, and then they got into a fight that they couldn't win.
Godzilla.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Godzilla.
He directly criticizes the government for like it was a losing fucking war. We're killing our
Right.
citizens pointlessly. So it's a great it's a great meditation on those themes in a monster movie. What are we doing? Without Godzilla, it works, you know. And that plane was a real plane that he used. So there you go. Fun fact.
Yeah, I looked that up. It was very cool.
I had to. I'm like, reverse the props.
Yeah. Oh wow.
What a
And
weird
just to add
body
to
design. Yeah.
the praise and everything, like there's a time in November and December when this movie and Boy and the Heron were both in theaters doing well financially in America, and I was like, damn,
Hell yeah.
Japan is killing it right now.
This had a limited release over the holiday season where every week you would read in the trades that they expanded it another week, another week, another week because there was such demand. So that's awesome.
I had hour-long conversations with people I was visiting who had seen it. Like, everyone's been impressed, even if they're not a Godzilla fan. It's like
Godzilla.
And I'm glad, good, go Japan, you know, like export some stuff besides anime.
Hell yeah.
You know, let's go. No Oscars probably, but I would give it sound design.
I think special effects, I think they could pull it off. I think they're going to end up on the short list because they are in whatever consideration now. And if they knock off, you know, Aquaman 2 or whatever bullshit it's going to be, you know.
Well, Oppenheimer is not on the short list for effects, which was like surprising.
Oddly.
Yeah, and then also like it was no dubs. It was completely subtitled every release. So for it to do that well, it's really quite an amazing feat. So
definitely.
Go. And Godzilla's still being relevant 70 years later. The longest running character in cinema.
Wow.
I would have liked it better if Robert Pattinson voiced Godzilla.
True.
Mahito, come with me. I'm Godzilla.
Yep.
That's great.
Well, 3 very different movies on the top spot.
Yes,
absolutely.
Great picks. Great year.
I love both of your picks, though. They are on my list. And do we want to quickly recap all of our lists really quick? I can just read the names of my movies.
Rush it out.
Break through it. Yeah.
So just in order from 1 to 10, I'll read the names. Killers of the Flower Moon, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Oppenheimer, Godzilla Minus One, Asteroid City, The Iron Claw, Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, May December, The Boy and the Heron, The Holdovers.
All right.
And my number 1, I'm going Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, Godzilla Minus One, The Boy and the Heron, May December, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Oppenheimer, Suzume, Past Lives, John Wick Chapter 4, and Knock at the Cabin.
Love to see it. All right, and we got number 1, Godzilla Minus One, Barbie, Across the Spider-Verse, John Wick 4, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Dungeons and Dragons, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Oppenheimer, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, and we calling an audible, and it's Evil Dead Rise.
Hey,
wow. Great movie.
But yeah, that's been the top 10.
Freaky movie.
Yeah. Let's get on the other side of this, wrap things up, maybe throw out a worst movie just for fun after this. Let's do it. Happy 2023, guys.
We're back here on Normies Like Us, where we're wrapping up our 2023. What a year it's been as we look forward to 2024. We just went through our top 10 movies. We shouted out some other stuff. We said here maybe we'll shout out some video games too, maybe some losers and stuff. You know, whatever else we want to wrap up about the year. I'll say, you know, the Game Awards said it. Baldur's Gate swept. My favorite of the year was Tears of the Kingdom, but I didn't expect that to win. So
yeah, for me, Baldur's Gate 3 is the big one. I liked Starfield. A lot of people didn't like it. I mean, I kind of liked it. It was fun to play, not a
made yourself
game.
Like it.
Yeah. I forced myself to like it. Yeah.
I would say in terms of scope and just what they accomplished, though, it's like there are some things that are objective, and it's objectively true that Baldur's Gate was better than every game nominated.
Yes.
Even ones you might have
I
liked
think it's
more
one
personally.
of the best games, not only of the year, but of, you know, a generation. Like, it's a generation defining game to me of like, this is the current state of games kind of thing. So
it defines the era, like what we can do. That's true. So that's great.
And shout out to Cyberpunk Most Improved Player.
I guess. Yeah.
I still got to get in that. I've been ranking in Armored Core. I'm almost to A rank, so that's been fun.
Wow.
With the joystick, doing multiplayer, but it did deserve Best Action Game, but it's not Game of the Year. But
I'll throw in one late edition, a game I just recently started playing, Dave the Diver. Game I picked up on sale on Steam. Heard about it on the Get Played podcast, a podcast I listen to about video games.
Want to check it out.
Dave the Diver. It's sort of an indie game about a guy diving, catching fish, and making sushi. And there's like a a sushi restaurant part of the game. There's a diving underwater part of the game. There's a lot to this game. It's very interesting, and I've been enjoying it the last couple days. So shout out to
Nice.
that, David.
Nice. I did some Resident Evil 4 VR, and that is crazy. It's very spooky. So
Goddamn.
I'm gonna be
Spooky.
trying
Oh my
those.
god.
You have
Yeah.
to like rack the slide and load your gun.
It's
John
too
Wick.
much for me. I would get.
Well,
too
at least
scared.
that one doesn't have a big lady, but I guess the El Gigantes would be scary.
They have a VR version of Village, so maybe I'll have
Oh,
Oh,
at
ugh.
scale.
step on me, mommy.
Oh, she's too big.
Too big. I want to throw down the 3 movies that I think 4 that were in the bottom. Fuck it. For
Yeah.
me, Indiana Jones,
Count 'em out.
Quantumania, Transformers: Rise of the Beast, Fast X. Fast X,
Oh,
I hate so
wow.
much because it's just a vanity project and Vin's impossible
Yeah.
to work
Rise
with.
of the
and he's
Beast.
so
You had
cool.
it that low.
That
Yeah.
hurts me. Fast X, I get, Mike, but Transformers, that hurts me. Those
Yeah,
are our
Transformers,
friends.
I thought
We're
it
friends
was
with
okay
Bumblebee.
for
You're right.
that kind of movie.
Yeah,
We love him.
you're right.
I will
Maybe
shout out
Ant-Man's Blue.
I looked at my lowest ranked on Letterboxd to help me out with
Mhm.
this, and my 2 lowest ranked at 1.5 were Five Nights at Freddy's and The Flash.
I forgot I watched Five Nights at Freddy's. and The Flash.
Wow.
Yeah,
I forgot
some bad
about The
movies this
Flash.
year. Indiana Jones I would put down
Yeah.
there as well. Those are probably my
Yeah.
2 least
Oh,
favorite.
yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. Flash, Indiana Jones. You guys didn't see Rebel Moon. I give it a 1/2 star. It's
Oh.
despicably bad.
I was waiting. I'm waiting for the director's cut because apparently
Oh, yeah.
there's going to be a director's cut.
Yeah.
I legitimately forgot about The Flash. That's how much I didn't like it. Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
Mike, you're from the timeline where there was no Flash.
That's
so-
right. We just have several Michael Keaton sequel Batman movies. And he's still doing it. Wow. Oh, shout out to our cameo from Jack Quaid in Oppenheimer, by the way. He was there for 3 minutes. We love
Playing the
seeing Jack
bongos.
with
You
those
always
bongos.
like to see that. I'm excited for the
Uh-huh.
boys this season. I'll tell you,
Absolutely.
if just a TV shout out, last year was the year that, took One Piece to the next
Mhm.
cultural ubiquity level. I'm excited
Right.
about that personally. I thought the
Yeah.
live action was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Japan's going off kind of right now. They're having a moment. Go, you guys.
Well, there's more anime adaptations are happening at Netflix. I think Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yu Yu
People.
Hakusho's out now.
Yeah, I watched the Yu Yu, Mike. It was not my favorite.
Fair enough. But it's happening. I guess
I'll just shout out for
2024 looks to be
TV.
interesting, but yeah, what's your TV
Yeah.
for this year?
Just my number 1 TV show of the year was probably Succession, the final season, a show you guys don't watch, but I
Mm-mm.
promise you is a great show.
So
Up
you
there
say.
with The Sopranos and Breaking Bad and those kinds of shows. I think it deserves to be mentioned with those kinds of shows. So
Yeah. No, it'll be on the list. Mine, of course, was One Piece, but now it's been dethroned by Message from Space Galactic Wars starring Hiroyuki Sanada. That's the new show of the year.
yeah,
A late entry. But yeah.
Well,
I guess thanks for being here with us,
2023.
Normies. What a year.
Yeah, please write
What a
in
year.
all that stuff of what lists you have and what your tops are, what games you played.
absolutely.
Tell me what you didn't like. Tell me that
Mhm.
you also watched The Flash or Rebel Moon and you're like, hey, I've got some things to say. We want to know about that, and hit us up and
Mhm.
tell us at normies_like_us, and rate, review, subscribe. That helps us out a lot too. Hit us up on YouTube there as well.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I just want to say, I have a great time doing these episodes. I had a great time last year, and I just love talking movies with you guys and maybe highlighting some movies that we don't always get a chance to talk about on this
Mhm.
podcast. So
It's not
love
very
doing that.
normie to say like, hey, December
May-
episode. We'll do
Yeah.
all. It's like,
Right.
no, probably not.
The
So, yeah,
holdovers,
you're
yeah.
right, Jacob. Yeah, the
We need to
holdovers.
we need to start
We're gonna
a
do an
side-
hour and a half on it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do a side podcast called N24. It'll be all the art house stuff.
Yes,
24.
yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I love talking movies with
Niche.
you guys
Niche like
and
us.
sharing our lists and saying farewell to 2023. Maybe not a great year, but a pretty good year for movies. So
Mhm.
hopefully 2024 is also good.
Let's make
Absolutely.
2024 the year of peace and love and good, kind stuff, and knock off
Yeah.
all the bullshit, please.
Mhm.
I can get
Obviously,
behind
there's
that.
going to be some political stuff that happens this year. Let's all cross our fingers.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Hold
End of
our
the world
breath.
type
Yeah.
vibes. Yeah.
But at least we got, good content to watch.
End of history. Yeah.
Well, join us
Exactly,
as we ride into the sunset into the future 2024.
Well, Nero fiddled while Rome burned, and we will of course be streaming Cake Boss or whatever
That's
else
right.
is on TV.
Aquaman, Tears of the Kingdom. What's that?
Yeah. And our podcast will be
Aquaman,
the
Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Lost Kingdom. Oh my
I think
god.
that's what it's called.
Yeah, I think so too. All right. Well, I think Godzilla might have gotten Colin, so
We might have lost
to get us
him.
out of here.
His war has not ended.
His war has not ended. But I guess I've been your host. New year, new norm. It's me, Mike.
And this is Baby New Year, Jacob, saying Happy New Year, everybody. Happy 2024. See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Young out.